Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Redmen TV and your watch-along for Arsenal, taking on Crystal Palace. Watch-along, hate watch-along, call it what you will. I was smiling to myself, ear to ear, as the little intro came up there with intro the 15, burst. The special intro burst. Happy birthday to us. Yeah. Birthday wishes accepted. I'm Dan Club. That is Errol Smith. Errol, how are you? You good?
I'm good, like genuinely really good at the minute. And I'm just, when I say I wasn't overly looking forward to, like, it wasn't that I wasn't looking forward to like this setup and obviously what we do. It was just more, I'm geared up for Sunday being like celebratory party, live life settings. Yeah. And I think because of last time when we did win it, obviously I know it was COVID and all the rest of it, but we didn't win it when we was playing. No. Do you know what I mean? So it was like they was all having a big celebration, having a bit of a drink up, which was great. But we was all, by and large, just kind of had to play it down a little bit. Yeah. And I just kind of don't want a repeat of that where it's like, we're not playing. So, and everybody's kind of dispersed, living life. And then, do you know what I mean? And
it's not even a weekend.
It's not a weekend. It's the midweek, do you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm again, fair play if Palace go and do the business tonight. I will thank you. You've been great and on all the rest of it. But if I had to plan it and if they were like the football gods were scripting it, I would script a little something for Sunday, personally.
100%. I'll do my best on this comment. Cards on the table. First off, I'd like to address who in the chat earlier on from our own sister channel on Redmen TV2 described us as Late Men TV. I'd love to know who was the culprit behind that. I asked Joe, he swears blind it wasn't him. It
wasn't him.
It might be one of the lads over in Ireland. We will get to the bottom of that. It was accurate ultimately, but I would like to know who it was. Let's do cards on the table though, Errol. You just kind of touched on it there. I'll bring up this super chat to address in a moment. But we're sat here. We're about to watch the game of football. It's about to unfold. We'll have a good old chat about the Reds and we'll use the comments section as we go along as well. We'll just do a bit of a catch-up, whatever. We are going to watch the footy and sort of, discuss what's going on. But we don't want it to be tonight, do we? Like, you've just touched on it. It was great when it happened and it was special in its own way, but it wasn't how we all wanted it. It wasn't a dream scenario. And even tonight isn't any of those things either.
It's really not. And as I say, like, I'm at that point now in my life where I want to see us win a league title. Do you know what I mean?
Like, we robbed of it last time. Let's be honest. Yeah, we robbed of it in every single way.
In every sense of the word, we really was. So for me, I think being able to do it home turf in front of your home crowd, home city, fans in the stadium, all of those things added to it will just make it feel even more special. So for me personally, I'm like, tonight is nice. It's a little kind of footnote in the season. Do you know what I mean? We've kind of got to dot the I's and cross the T's. We've got to be here. We've got to keep an eye on it. We've got to observe what's going on. And as I say, I expect, obviously, I think Crystal Palace are playing FA Cup
semis
this weekend. Arsenal are obviously looking with one eye on PSG in the following weeks to come. So I'm not expecting both teams to go full tilt tonight. Obviously, Arsenal want to make sure that they don't gift us the Premier League in a roundabout way. But I got excited. I seen a little delivery that came by the studio earlier today, and that got me excited. So I'm like, I'm ready. Come Sunday, I'm ready. I am ready for it. Trust me, I'm ready.
If we're doing, complete transparency, that what you're referring to there is 6 foot away from me. I want to say it was upstairs, but I thought just in case.
On the off chance that
If we're doing all this, we may as well go the extra mile and make sure it's to hand just in case. Let's put it like that. And if I was to do my zip down a little bit, you'd also see something else that is very special. But that's I'll be honest again. Having said all of that stuff, I don't want to be here past 9:30 tonight. I'll be honest with you. If it goes 3-0 Arsenal, we're wrapping this shit up and we're out of here.
Yeah, just out of courtcy, we're giving you a quick heads up on that. If it's like FIFA settings.
Yeah. Game done.
It's game, past the pad, it's off. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if it's 3-0, we're out of here.
Out of here. Thank you very much for the super chat as well on the 15th anniversary stuff. I do want to sort of gauge the temperature of the chat as well about what you want tonight, because obviously this comment here says, wants the party this weekend. I want to get a poll in there as well. Arsenal win.
Arsenal win, draw.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to know when people want to do it and sort of why they want to do it tonight or Sunday. I mean, for me, it is definitely Sunday, absolutely for all the reasons already mentioned. Little bit of housekeeping before we crack on with the night's work. We are sponsored all season long here at Redmen TV by Dr. Cynic, the best hair clinic in Turkey. As you can see on the screen there, he is absolutely the bee's knees when it comes to boxing your hairline off. He does beard transplants. He is the hair surgeon to the stars. So yeah, check out his website. He does consultations down in London as well before you head off to Turkey and get yourself boxed for life.
It's one of them. If they gave out Ballon d'Ors for hair transplants, Dr. Cynic would have a whole array of them.
Rapidly trying to think of a pun. Struggling. Let me know in the chat. Let's do a bit of team news before the game actually gets underway, Errol, because that was sort of the first port of call when it came to tonight and how seriously they were taking it. Arsenal made 4 changes from their team, I think I'm right in saying. The big one, the headline one, is no Bukayo Saka. They've gone with Raheem Sterling instead.
Maybe we have to bring the celebrations out if that's the case, because I didn't expect him to go full strength, let's be honest. When you look at it tonight, it's not a massive game for them. There's very little for them to play for now in the Prem. Obviously, I think they're playing for professional pride. But outside of that, you've kind of got to... I side with Arteta on decisions like that, because he's tried to run it as hard as he can in terms of push this Liverpool team as far as they possibly can do. He's not stupid. He's a clever enough guy to understand now that the biggest opportunity for them to lift silverware this year is going to be the Champions League. To navigate that, Saka's not like maybe a month back. The last international break, came back and was in full first team training and made a couple of substitute appearances. He's got himself a goal back on his return. So he's just a fantastic talent, but ultimately to be able to manage that and make sure that the recovery and his body doesn't break down on him, you have to manage those minutes. So fair play to Arteta for saying, you know what? Bigger fish to fry and all the rest of that. Excuse it, but it is what it is. And obviously, he probably just wants to kind of keep enough of the balance. He's got Trossard up front as well, playing the false 9. He's left his big hitter in Moreno out again. So he...
Mad thing to say that.
I know it is, but that's true. It's true. It's what's happened. It's the reality. Yeah. So fair play to them. Even when we're looking at the Palace team now.
Well, the big hitter they're missing is no Mateta. He's gone with Eddie Nketiah up top, which is probably a nod towards the weekend, because you mentioned sort of priorities for Arsenal there, and that of course being eggs in the basket, the Champions League. Palace's eggs are in the FA Cup basket, understandably so. Go on, talk to me. What's excited
Dr.
you?
Cynic for the Ballon d'Or. See. This is why we love the comments.
There's been a couple. Yeah. I'm impressed. They were never likely to let us know.
I'm surprised you didn't get that one yourself, though,
Normally in my in my repertoire to do that sort of shit, but it's been a long day. I'll be honest with you. It's been a long day. So Bald No More from MC Hammer might be better. I'll be honest. That might be better. That's a big shout.
Yes.
That's excellent work.
That's a big shout.
That's excellent work.
Tip my hat to you there, bro, whoever that was.
Wonderful. MC Hammer with some fantastic stuff. Etsam Ul Hassan with a super chat before the action does get underway. We've got a bit of an agenda to go through tonight, by the way. I thought I'd keep it Liverpool themed, of course, and I've got some talking points me and Errol will discuss on the way. But as ever, feel free to chip in on the chat and give us some conversations to have. Etsam says, what's the Mateta with Arteta, you reckon? I mean, just not winning trophies, I guess, ultimately, is his biggest problem right now. Did everyone see that clip of him? He's on the screen as we speak.
Walking the dog. Yeah, I knew he was going to say that, yeah. It's like, man got no cares in the world, just out strolling, walking his little lap.
Is that a bit mad, though?
I think it is. I think it's very strange. Very, very strange. And, like, the funny thing is, they got that dog, like, at a puppy. That dog looks old as fuck.
Old chef. He was taken out the back.
Yeah. I was looking at that dog thinking, that dog looks old. Like, even in dog years, he's been waiting half of his life to win a trophy.
It is win the dog. It is win the dog.
That had me creased. Definitely had me creased. But you know what? We are moments away. We could be 90 minutes away, ladies and gentlemen, from Liverpool winning the 20th
we're off
league title.
We are.
It would be our second Premier League in 5 years. We're 5 seconds into the game, and this feels strange because I'm like, I'm not rooting for these teams.
No, it's interesting, isn't it? It's such a difficult one because a comment a moment ago, I think on the super chat I had up on screen, basically saying like, doesn't want it to be tonight, but they'll celebrate like fucking mad if it is tonight. And I'm in that boat, you know what I mean? Like, I'm heading Anfield post here if it happens, you know what I mean? I can't wait. But again, I'll level with you. You've said we're 90 minutes away from the 20th title. I hope we're 72 hours and a bit away.
But
yeah,
no
like,
standard. And I, you know, when it's like your birthday week.
Yeah.
And you're like, just like, I know, like, you get a little, like, maybe little build-up gifts towards something. If it was like your 16th or your 18th, you're just like, oh, I can't wait. I'm like, yeah, I actually just want to wait for my birthday.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I just want to wait for, you know, I know it's going to be a lit day.
Yeah. Because you got, it's like you've got to get a massive present on your birthday or loads of small presents in the build-up. Give me the massive
just
present.
Give me the massive present.
Interestingly enough, though, just a quick update on the poll. Palace win is
I know, I seen that. I even voted.
Did you?
Yeah.
Arsenal. Palace win.
Yeah, I voted for an Arsenal win.
Yeah. So let's say I would do draws, not too far behind. The draws, I think a lot of people go for the draw because it means we've got less work to do. But I want to win. Yeah.
So get ready for that. If Arsenal win, we just have to win on Sunday, and then it's still mathematically done because of the amount of games that are left.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Brilliant. I'll have that.
That's it. Yeah.
And you know what? I don't even mind Arsenal getting to a Champions League final, dare I say? I do. I genuinely don't mind it. I don't mind it.
No. Viva PSG, mate.
Well, yeah.
Viva. I had no interest in Arsenal.
Doing anything?
No. Not doing anything.
Fair.
Have you? Would you be all right with them winning that? The first one ever. Their first one ever. Is that fine? That's not fine.
I don't know. I don't feel either way too. I feel like at some point they're going to win a Champions League.
No, I don't know. They never have.
That's true.
But my biggest issue of what you just said there is that gives them a genuinely worrying case for having a better season than us.
Nah.
Anyone? Chat?
I'm not having it.
I mean, John's not having you.
John's like, stop that.
Baller's not having you either. Like,
less of that.
Does that?
Oh, and they're already 1-0.
There you go.
There we go. Right.
Wow.
Curtains.
There's a start. There's a start. See you later, everyone.
Yeah.
1-0 Arsenal, though.
1-0
Arsenal, and they're celebrating. Delaying the inevitable. Is it Kyrgios?
Who the fuck is that?
I think it's Kyrgios.
It's got to be it.
Yeah, it's Kyrgios, yeah. I looked up, and is it a set piece again, LA. Let's see, all onside. Oh, is it him?
I think he is onside.
No,
he's not.
Post. No, tell you, how's he scored from there?
It's a big header.
It's about 15 yards out.
It's a big header. Suarez-esque, that.
Literally about 50 years. Suarez-esque. West Brom, Suarez.
Yeah, it really is.
He's free as a bird. He's got a lot of power behind it, but Dean Henderson is flat-footed. I'm talking like I give a shit. I don't. I'm delighted.
But that's the start.
1-0 Arsenal.
That's the start that on my poll I wanted, to be honest.
Oh yeah, sound. Perfect start, as Misty says here. See you, lads.
There's that guy at Jova or whatever his name is.
Who?
The set piece coach.
Oh, Jova.
Yeah, he's always up on his feet and he's shouting barking orders.
Well, I mean, I must barking orders. The dog theme's kicking on. I must admit, I know we scored from a set piece, kind of. Let's do Liverpool chat while this is on the background, shall we? Let's do Trent chat, actually. Let's do Trent chat. Can I suggest to you?
Go on.
Maybe bear with me here. Walk with me for a moment, if you will. Are we getting mixed signals from Trent?
Massively. And I don't get why at this late stage, after the latest round of noise that proper noise that we heard over the international break, he's even bothered to like give those big signals. For me, more than anything else, all right, yeah, you could get carried away in the celebrations and all the rest of it. But the reality for me is, I just think he wants to go out on a high.
Okay.
And if you want to go out on a high, celebrate and be gassed and be happy, but then just get your head back down and just continue with, I'm not talking, I'm not making statements. Do what you've been doing for the majority of the season and let the speculation be the speculation.
Okay.
You now starting to flirt.
Do you think he went too far?
I do, yeah. Okay. Because I'm like, it's like, okay, you'll have to walk with me on this.
Yeah, that's fine. Go on. Let's do it.
The gentlemen in the chat that have courted attention.
Didn't know we were going there, but
you have.
I'm still with you.
And you're just getting led down a garden path.
Chance of Palace. Oh no, they're in Survivor. Go on.
You're just getting led down a garden path. There's nothing worse. I'd rather you just put me out of misery and tell me it's never going to happen. And I can live with that. But the false hope is what I can't deal with as a person.
A lot of people are sort of in that boat now. And Chris raised a point 2 or 3 weeks ago now on the podcast, because Trent has been non-committal either way the whole time, of course. And he's been non-committal without actually doing a single thing, because he could have come out and said, listen, I'll talk about this at the end of the season. But he's never even done that.
I know. And we've had this discussion many times where that should have been the party line. That should have been basically what he's come out and said, right, let me get the season done and then we can have the conversation. But the fact that he hasn't, and as I say now, all of a sudden this kind of leaving the door ajar, or I'm flirting with the idea, I just feel like when a lot of people had made their peace with it, you've now stirred them back up. And I think that's where me personally would start to feel a little bit more of a grudge. Like, where I've stood on it for a long time, and I've always said, you know what, it is what it is. The fact that Liverpool don't get the money is more on us than it is on Trent, and ultimately, I'm not going to begrudge him for having ambition in his own personal life. That's absolutely fine, but I'm not going to sit here and be like, just dick me about, mate, for 3 weeks and just get me hopes up. And like, everybody's on a high. We're about to win the league. Virgil signed, Salah signed. Like, there's what
have they done?
Give it away in a very dangerous area. The keeper was miles off his line. He didn't go for the shot.
Adam Wharton tried to find, I think it was...
You've got players in the box now. Palace, the ball's gone into the box.
No, he gets
an awful header. It looks like Palace may get to the ball. There's a little bit of action.
He's done him.
And he's done him.
He fell over.
Get up then. Fired it in, rifled it into his body.
There's still half a chance here.
Bouncing everywhere.
Why to be a corner to Palace.
And it's going to be a corner.
Good reaction from Palace. Good response to going a goal down early. On that then, do you think he's having any second thoughts whatsoever about whatever the decision is?
He probably is. He probably is, and I get it. Do you know what I mean? And I think the thing is, what you have to realise, and we've said this for a long time about the Real Madrid project, when it's going good, fair enough. There's not a better team to play for in the world football. If you're just objective about it, in terms of like no loyalties, there's going to be no better team to play for than being in a Galacto when things are going good.
Yeah, just on that, sorry, dead quick, because we've had this discussion, as you mentioned, many times off and on air. You think a lot of the attraction for Trent is football related, but it transcends that as well. Am I right in saying?
It transcends the sport for me in the sense that
it's a brand.
It's a brand. Yeah, Trent feels if he goes there, there's going to be another echelon of
It's David
sport.
Beckham, isn't it?
It's David Beckham, it's LeBron James, it's Michael Jordan, it's Lewis Hamilton. That's the kind of, when people talk about sport, you're in that conversation as opposed to when people are just talking about football and having loyalties with teams. So that's where I kind of sit with things. But that's when it's going good. It can vary. Like, you can have 6 shit months at Liverpool, play under the level. Liverpool can be, trailing away from a title and, just fighting on 1 or 2 fronts, not having the best season. And the fans will stick by you through thick and thin because they know you'll come good at some point for us and you will deliver. Those Real Madrid fans are very fickle and they will turn on you.
Arsenal playing a dangerous game. Thomas Partey gets away with that one, but yeah, no, you're right. They're unforgiving, aren't they?
It's very unforgiving, and I
think and fans alike.
And I think that's the thing where he thinks if he thought he was going to go and escape, like in his head, he had this idea, like he's made it into, I'll escape all of this criticism and I'll probably now start to get my flowers. Everything has to work in order for that to be the case, because if it doesn't, he's going to have a torrid time over there, and you're going to be homesick, and you're not going to have the love and support of your people. Like, you've got to have broad shoulders and thick skin, and when you've just crashed out in the way that they have, maybe he's looked at it and thought, you know what? Like, it's better the devil you know than the devil you don't.
And it wouldn't surprise me if he was, because he'd have seen the reaction to the latest round of, like I say, strong rumours and speculation. That might have surprised him somewhat, just the sheer level of angst and anger towards it, and then couple that with the slight uncertainty at Real Madrid. Really, you mentioned the Champions League exit there. There's discussions around Carlo Ancelotti and his future.
He's gone. He's already gone.
Well, exactly. Don't get me wrong. They're being safe hands because it looks like it's going to be Xabi Alonso, who's a very, very he's iconic Liverpool man. So Trent will have links there, of course, but also his coaching career has got off to a really strong start at Leverkusen. So yeah, it's a pretty solid foundation still to go to Real Madrid, it's fair to say, but I can't help but think in all of these conversations, and again, we've had millions of them, like Gareth Bale is the example for me, because Gareth Bale pulled up trees at Real Madrid. He was a proper hit in terms of on the pitch, And yet still.
Didn't take
and to be fair, he didn't do himself many favours, because I think by the end, he got so fed up with them despising him that he just played to it in the end with the flag and all that. He played to the golf and the not learning Spanish. And there's a lot of suggestions out there he actually did learn Spanish. But because he'd seen his arse with the fans so much, he went, do you know what, fuckers? You know what I mean? And wash my hands of you as well. So, yeah, it's a difficult one. I do fear for Trent in that sense, because as you said there, mate, like, we adore him here. We'll forgive his mistakes. We'll forgive his bad patches. I'm not sure he gets the same luxury at all in Real Madrid.
And as I say, like, God forbid there's another Spanish under 21 sitting in their academy or whatever, waiting to be a right back for them.
Yeah.
And you know, that love and admiration that they will just give to the next. They, you know, as I say, not only are they fickle, but you know, they will just look for a new shiny toy. And if you be great. And again, I think Bellingham's a prime example of it from last season. Had a really good breakout season. You think that's when the going's good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you know, you've got the world at your feet. And I'm not saying it's gone a full 180 on Bellingham by any stretch of the imagination, but he's probably realised now, like, nothing's given at this team. Every kick, it has to be earned in a lot of respects. And maybe Trent wants that type of challenge, but I think in terms of where he's at in world football, I think he's solidified as one of, if not the best right back in the world. So the only way to go up a level is to transcend sport in the way that I expect him to want to be remembered as a sports person. So it's gonna be interesting. I think we're probably no more than a week away from knowing one way or
another. Do you think? I think we'll assume.
Yeah, I think
once the title's
done, I think he's got to make sense of it, hasn't he?
Okay.
I think the answers will be there, because you know, when people are wanting to do trophy lifts and people are wanting to,
I fear that so much.
Like,
we saw it at the weekend.
But if we know in advance, I think, like you say, people have made the peace with it now.
Okay.
All right, another question for you, because I've seen this floating about.
Go on.
Does his moral get taken down?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it does, yeah. I think it does. But it might be forced upon whoever makes that decision to make that decision. Yeah. Because again, there was definitely a mixed reaction from the away end. That might be, you know, amplified by 40 come the weekend at Anfield, potentially. You mentioned, the chance of Crystal Palace is Eddie Nketiah against his old club across the box. David Raya just comes out and gets hold of it in the 6-yard box. Arsenal have not looked solid at all here. Let's just see how this transpired first.
Easy.
Just a ball over the top. Just a long, straight ball.
The back line's all over the place.
It is, isn't it? It's Eddie Nketiah scuffs it, and then it's a mess from Kyrgios, the goal scorer, but David Raya comes out and claims. You mentioned trophy lifts. The trophy lift is actually one of the most daunting parts of all of this for me. Yeah. Genuinely. I fear badly how that goes down. The parade, similar. Honestly, it's...
like I said, though, I was surprised when we sat here on the weekend and watched the Leicester game. Yeah. He came on for about 5 seconds, and then it was the scouting in our team.
I think it's worse. I've heard that the raw footage
is weird. Make it,
I think it's slightly worse than that.
Okay.
And I was with you, by the way, until Monday morning.
When I heard,
honestly, it's a bit worse than you think. Yeah. Okay.
And again, I think then there's going to be a bit of a conflict, because I think people are going to have to wrestle their emotions of, I'm really happy for the fucking club versus I'm really fucking mad at Trent. And it's like, all right, which of those two overriding emotions is gonna win out? Yeah. And for me, it's going to be nothing, but I am just so gassed that we've won the Premier League. And if Trent leaves as a byproduct of that, then farewell. All the best. As I say, I even put a tweet out the other day. I was like, when I seen him putting a finger on, I was like, I'm not even like sad. I'm not even going to be sad that you got like sad that it's happened. I'm gassed that it's happened. Like the fact that a young black man from Liverpool came through the ranks, idolised Steven Gerrard in the same way that I idolised Steven Gerrard back in the day, and then they went and took on a Liverpool shirt all the way through their career at Liverpool, and has absolutely flipped what we thought right back should be.
Yeah, he's done all that. He's achieved everything.
And he's achieved everything and won it all. I just like, Even if you'd have asked me, like, when's the next Steven Gerrard going to be coming from Liverpool, I'd probably take us about 10 years before you fired him, and I wouldn't have pinned him down as some black kid from West Derby either. Do you know what I mean? It's the fact that there is, for me, there's so much more to just the fact that, like, oh yeah, centre right back that we're going to struggle to replace. There was another question that I was going to ask you.
Well, can I ask you the same question about the Mule dead quickly?
Yeah.
What would you take?
I'd leave it up.
Yeah.
He's earned it.
Do you not fit again to play that?
I feel there's going to be obviously
some problems.
Yeah, there will be. I can imagine there will be problems. I can imagine there will be bitterness because people are like, you know, I think there's already been people that have tried to vandalise and stuff like that, and they've had to repaint over some murals.
Yeah, it's happened in the past.
Well, so it's happened in the past. So that wouldn't surprise me in any way if people, you know, defaced it. And then maybe in the long run, it might be a case of, all right, well, because you better just covering it because we're going to be back out painting it every other week.
Yeah. Can you just quickly address this comment on the screen, by the way? We'll carry on talking about the match. We'll move on to some other topics as we go along. Have you seen the Trent and Salah stuff at all? Because obviously Salah, a bit of a story, and not really for me, but Salah normally posts a post-match selfie with whoever the match winner was. Normally it's him. He didn't. Then he did. So everyone went, "Oh, great!"
And Adidas threw some eyes on it.
Adidas was like, yeah, it's
all that stuff that I'm like, miss me with it.
Really,
just miss me with that right now because we don't need it. Do you know what I mean? It's like
you think that's giving out the false hope. That's the mixed signals. That's
the mixed signals. Like we don't need it, and I know you want to go out on a high and you want to be happy, and you still want to feel a part of the team. But if what I've been led to believe is actually true, bro, just like. Get your head down. Just get the job done.
Okay, yeah.
And then we can.
You think he's become a little bit too front and centre of it all in the past 4 days?
Yeah, more than he needed to be.
Interesting.
But that's absolutely fine as well.
Yeah.
Was there a comment that I wanted to see that just?
Yeah, go for it, man. I'll just read through some of the chats. People talk about Chiesa's medal hopes here.
Hey, there are people in this studio that are hoping that my man gets a medal, and I am here for it. If they give him a medal, respect it.
He will get a medal regardless. Let's get that out there now. He will get a medal. Whatever happens between now and the end of the season, he will.
Does he deserve a medal?
Yes. And I'll tell you for why. Because the old adage of anyone I've ever spoken to who's won league titles at Liverpool is that it isn't just, back in the day, the 11/12 players that actually went out on the pitch. It's the team, it's the entire backroom staff, it's the people who train day in, day out, push you to be the best you can possibly be in training, etc., etc. So I do think he deserves one, regardless. However, officially, he does need to make one more appearance to automatically get one, to meet the criteria. So as it stands, he doesn't deserve a medal, in inverted commas. You?
Nah, do you know what? Tongue in cheek, people get it twisted all the time online. Like, I just wanted to see this player play more minutes ultimately for us.
Is it a frustration then?
And it's born purely out of frustration at the fact that, and again, because I've been told how how good he can be, I'm disappointed that, especially because there was a point in our season where our forwards were a little bit wobbly in terms of, apart from Salah really being consistent. And I thought, this is your moment in time to prove that you can at least pip one of them to a starting place right now. And just, again, my thing is, it's always about competition for places. So, you know, competition for places.
He's a high quality operator, we know that.
Exactly. It's like, just go and push somebody on a little bit. And even if that means that you aren't on the pitch, it means that the person that is on the pitch has to be on their A game every single time, because they know Chiesa is waiting in the wings. And that's all I've really wanted. And I think there hasn't been enough of that pushing a couple of man on. That makes me then think you've been vital. Like, I seen someone put out there, I don't know if it was you before, about Shaqiri and the season that he's had quietly.
No, wasn't me.
At the moment. Okay, it might have been the Raptors.
He's back at FC.
He's at Bar. What he's done, I think it was, I want to say it was like 14 goals and 17 appearances or something like that. Good numbers by, you know, the amount of minutes he was going to be playing and all the rest of it. But even when he was with us, there was moments in the seasons where we won shit, where Shaqiri came up with Shaqiri moments.
United at home.
Do you know what I mean? And like
5-2 Derby scores in that, I think.
And then he sets one up in the Barcelona game.
He does,
comes on, sets. And I'm like, those little moments where you just think, do you know what, over the course of the season, that's what you're holding out for when you're a fringe player. Yeah. And that's where my frustration lies.
Well, I want to carry on this topic momentarily because there's a bit in the chat about it as well. I brought up some comments as you've been speaking there. And it's interesting, you kind of said it because you wanted him to push the forwards, the first choice forwards, to maintain their levels.
Diaz, Nunes, Gakpo, push them.
But it's interesting that because they haven't maintained their levels, all of them, at certain parts of the season, I think it's fair to say. And at no point has Chiesa got that look in. I would argue even now, the weekend just gone, Diaz moves into the 9 role, which we know is not his favoured role. And Chiesa still isn't even on the bench for this game. But Jota has had a really poor season by his standards, really, really poor. Darwin Núñez has had a season forget. Looks like the writing's on the wall in terms of his Liverpool future. And yet still, to reiterate the point, Chiesa's never, ever got a proper look. Can you make sense of why? Is it a fitness thing? Is it a form thing? Is it a performance thing when he has had opportunities?
I think it's probably a little bit of all of it, but I think the majority for me is probably fitness. I think the way Slot wants the forwards to play, he's expecting that any given moment of any of the forwards he puts on, he can put in at least a 60 to 70 minute performance if it's required. And I don't think even after this stage
he's ready for that.
In his time. In the Premier League, there might be, had we have done better in the Cups, maybe we might have seen a little bit more of him. When I say better in the Cups, I mean the FA Cup. But I think
that was his chance.
That was his chance. I think there's a 35 to 50 minute max out of him. And I think even if you got 50 minutes out of him, the data would probably suggest you're not going to see him again for about 6 weeks.
No, it's true. The sample size we've seen would suggest that. Because it was the Plymouth game. Now, we don't know how much of this was born out of that massively underwhelming, and that's a kind word to use, performance, or whether it was what that took out of him physically. Because I think he plays the old 90-odd in that, comes to nothing eventually in the end because it was terrible. But did we not see him again for 5 weeks because he was knackered or because he was shit? You know what I mean? So you're right. Yeah.
It could have been either of those things. And I think just over the course of the season, I think Slot's been very much who can I rely on person? Who's going to be able to give me that base level? And even if that base level's a 6, I'd rather have a 6 than gamble on having an 8 one week. That then I can't. If you light it up and absolutely smash it, the fans love it. You love it. But then I can't use you again. Then that's me as a manager just left between a rock and a hard place because I know I've got this amazing talent. But it's like, how can I get the best out of you? And I'm not going to get the best out of you in 10, 15, 20 minute bursts.
Can't be relied upon.
You just can't be relied upon. So
chance for Arsenal.
What a finish. Unlucky. Declan Rice.
On the volley. Yeah, it was nice football actually to give them their credit. Declan Rice on the half volley on the edge of the box. Sterling linking up with my mate Raheem. And Declan... Oh, that is close.
Very close.
That is close. Sounds. Let's move on from Federico Chiesa to another man who's been...
Well, before we talk about a player, let me ask you a question because we're 15 years deep. Redmen, if you don't know, obviously the big hitters are over in Ireland at this moment in time. Hence why you've got
the people who do the real work are in this building, by the way, just to say.
And that is a fact. And they won't even mind us saying
No, it's true.
They know the score.
Anyway, go on.
But the likes of Paul and Chris are over in Ireland and Steve doing live shows this evening. Hoping probably that, again, they can come and celebrate on the weekend as opposed to celebrating over there tonight. But the question for you and for the chat, your Redmen TV highlight since you've been here, because they did the whole embarrassing things. I'm not going down the whole because we've all got one of them. But highlights.
Good question. Yeah,
what is
for my personal
your personal highlights?
I met Jurgen Klopp. I'm not. I hate to say it, but
no, don't hate to say it.
No, but it doesn't get big. It doesn't get big. I've met some brilliant people, by the way, some boss people. But I mean, let's be honest. I mean, the highlight, the top ball highlights might be coming up in 4 weeks when I'm on stage with Kenny Dalglish. That might be it. I could probably just die and go to Liverpool heaven at that point. Really, But probably is that. To be fair, what about you?
That's a tough.
Because pinch yourself territory for me. And he let on to me. He initiated the hug. All of the stuff that I thought I might have to do.
He did all the heavy lifting.
I was going to have to introduce myself, say what I did, ask him if I could hug him. None of that. He actually embraced me like he'd always known me. And that was everything, man.
Yeah, that would have been pretty special.
Yeah.
I thought it was quite funny, like, because he watched, so he knew we all existed anyway.
Yeah, which is mad.
Which is mad. I never got to meet him.
No, but like, you could have told me that 5 minutes before I walked into a room with him, and it still would have been like, shit, he does actually, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's mad.
I think mine's got to be the 7-0 against United. Yeah, I did that watch along with Steve.
That's a good shout.
And that was, again, it wasn't even like a spellbinding 45 minutes, really. Do you know what I mean? We was like, we was on top of them. Do you know what I mean? In control. And for me, it's that Robbo inside pass to just set up Gakpo. Like, as soon as that happens, my head was just like, what? Like, that was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So that was like
that'll
a proper...
live long in memories, full stop. And let's be honest, like, to do that to our arch rivals is just next level shit.
And then outside that, probably just being part of like the watch-alongs and stuff like that, because I used to watch the Redmen, do you know what I mean? Like, I've been worked away, I've done all sorts, and like, I was one of the people that I used to watch podcasts before podcasts were like popular by mainstream standards, and Redmen was always like one of my little go-tos to just watch in terms of like football content.
We're both very lucky. I don't. That means to get all like, you know, emotional about it. Like, we are both
reality,
very
blessed, man.
And
like,
we are aware of that. Like,
ridiculously fortunate. So from my perspective, like, even just that transition from watching to then being able to see how the magic works, for me, that was like, again, and it's
Alex equalised. Eberiche,
my boy.
Was it a routine corner? It's a lovely goal on the volley on the edge of the box. Game back on.
Let's have it.
Back on.
Let's
long
have it.
25 minutes. That was not in the script. I'm not sure how I feel about it.
When you see a goal like that,
lovely goal. Yeah, it's off one post, backing off the other by the looks of it. It goes pretty much across the goal line. Let's watch it back.
Unmarked.
I think it's
right on the edge.
He
just drills it into the ground.
Did he catch it that sweetly? I want to watch it back now. It's definitely a...
He doesn't have... He catches it, though, you know. I think he means to clip
it
down.
Into the ground, yeah.
Yeah, he does.
He does hit it well.
He hits it well.
Off the inside the post and straight in.
Lovely.
Into the opposing side netting, and it's 1-1. Lovely goal. Like I say, off the training ground. No one went near him from an Arsenal perspective. You can't leave him just stood there like that.
He had the freedom of the Emirates to do what he wanted there.
And he scored.
Only his 8th goal of the season.
Good play. Would you?
I would.
Yeah.
I think he's always like... Do you know what, though? He reminds me of a bit of a... In our team, in our system, he would remind me of a bit of a Harvey Elliott. Well... Where he'd be and that probably brings us nicely into
let's just deal with this first. Can you see that? Deal with that.
I remember that. Yeah.
I don't think I've been done by one of them. I might be lying, but I don't think I've been done by one of them. We'll soon see, won't we? There's time yet. It's 1-1, so it's getting back on. So we might talk more about the football in front of us, because it's actually a match of football that means a bit more all of a sudden. However, let's do the Harvey Elliott question conundrum. A few people have brought it up in the chat already, so let's address it now. And as I say, with Eze scoring, it is quite poignant. For me, Errol, I'll start us off. Simply, criminally underused. If there was one real negative I'd put against Arne Slot's first season, I mean, the Champions League exit, the FA Cup exit would be part of them. But in terms of how he's used the personnel, Harvey Elliott is the standout candidate for what he's done wrong.
Okay, so my take on this is, I think we as fans feel as though we have more of a sample size and understanding of the ability within this squad. And I do not think as fans we are wrong for that. Okay. Because we have stood by them, we've watched them, we've seen how Jurgen Klopp's had them trained and what they've been capable of being able to do. Yep. So I do believe that as fans, we have a very good belief of what our squad is capable of, which then kind of leads us to believe that, you know, Harvey Elliott is good enough to get more games against certain levels of opponents throughout the course of a season. The thing with Slot, I think, from his perspective is everybody has to earn that trust.
Palace are absolutely
rampant. Nearly 2-0, you know.
Kirill with a massive block.
Over them.
Wow. Eddie Nketiah found it in the box on the spin.
It's just another ball over the top, though. Straight over the top. He runs into that half channel. It's Eze again. He just flicks it in to Eddie Nketiah, and he just... He just should have spun you the way, really.
Poor defending initially from Kyrgios, but he saves himself with a leg stretched out right at the last second.
Wow.
That's nearly 2-1 Palace.
Yeah.
And it would have been Nketiah against his former employers. There's a game of football on here, Errol.
So yeah, for me, I think that's just where I think Slot has. It's about earning that from his perspective, and I think he probably feels as though Harvey Elliott is somebody that he can utilise, but he's really being really selective over it. And I think that again, I think if there's a world where. And it's hard because we want to go for trophies every single season. But if it was a proper transition season where we're not going for trophies and it's a little bit more open for interpretation of where Liverpool are going to fall in the end of the season.
Oh, I see. So if we were like fourth now.
Yeah, I think there'd probably be a chance where you'd probably see more players, right? Who can I look to see who... Like, you know, like this point last season, it was like all the players, we was like, they're auditioning for Slot now. And it was like, well, they're going to... Klopp's just playing loads of random different players because it's giving them an opportunity. You can't not know how Virgil van Dijk plays, Salah, all the rest of them. I think you'd have probably got more of those auditions because there wouldn't have been as much at stake. I think surely because there's been so much at stake at this particular moment in time, his hand's been forced to be like, I'm going with what's tried and tested because that's going to benefit me in my short term vision of just getting a Premier League. And again, I'm not in no rush to make mad changes, and he understands that he's part of it, and he's got a year under his belt of being that person. Yeah,
it's hard to argue with his rationale when it comes to that. It's hard to argue with the thought process from you there because that's how the whole season panned out. We've seen it. He's had a core group of 13, occasionally 14 players that he's relied upon week in, week out, sometimes to the detriment of some of them in certain performances, but ultimately it's got us to the point whereby we are literally potentially minutes, probably days away from lifting the Premier League. So, you know, the ends were well worth it ultimately. But just in terms of Harvey's future then, because again, I'll say it how it is, I adore him. I think he's got loads of qualities, and I think it would be a massive shame, I can never get away from that word when I speak and think about this, if we were to let him to leave. However, he wants to play football. He wants to play football for Liverpool, but come the summertime, unless there's promises made about playing more, there has to be a conversation around what happens with him.
No, and I understand that. I think he's in a position now where he probably is at that age where he should be playing week in, week out again for another Premier League team. If it's not going to be for us,
there'll be loads of takers. By the way,
there would be loads of takers, because I think he offers something quite unique in the sense of how he plays his game. I just think we've been spoiled this season by getting the Premier League as close as we've got it, and it's kind of just meant that I've got to do what's right by the team as opposed to looking at individuals and how I can feature them in. I think there's a bigger conversation to be had, and that's what I was going to ask you next. Is out of 10, what would you give Slot for his first season?
Oh, mate, that's a properly difficult question, you know, and it shouldn't be, because again, we're about to win the Premier League, so my immediate thought is just 10.
Yeah.
I'd be tempted to stick with it, which is ridiculous considering, you know, 10 is obviously perfection and a quadruple would mean that. But given the fact it is his first season, and a lot is made of, you know, the squad he inherited and the world-class footballers that we own, and therefore he himself has stressed how good the squad was, and therefore it was quite an easy job to take on. I would spin that completely on its head and say walking in, following in the footsteps of Jurgen Klopp, was so almost impossible. It was such a big deal that to do it in the manner and the style that he's done makes it all the more impressive, regardless of who he's got in terms of the personnel. So somebody here in the chat, Adam Everson, says 9.5. Yeah, I wouldn't be... I'd be 9.5 stroke like 10, which again is ludicrous.
Mad. Yeah, no.
But given the circumstances around it and what we're about to achieve, I struggle to pick faults in it, and that's coming from a viewpoint of I want us to compete on all four fronts all the time, and I would like to see us be better in certain matches as well and pull further clear. Because whilst I don't subscribe to the whole shit Premier League, you know, what happens if Man City are at it, what happens if Arsenal are at it, I don't care, we're so superior to the rest. Argue amongst yourselves a little bit. To do what he's done in the first season again, following on from a man we absolutely heralded as one of the greatest human beings to ever step foot in the fucking city, let alone the football club. Like, that's some job, man. That's some job.
No,
so what about you?
I slightly different. I wouldn't say it was a 10. I would have given him a more around about an 8.5.
I'll go 9.5. Again, there are some areas whereby he will look to improve, and he'll know that better than anybody else, by the way, in terms of the way we've gone about our business as a squad, as a collective. But honestly, the pros so far outweigh. It's remarkable.
And I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna.
People agreeing with you in the chat. There's a bit of both, by the way. So feel free. Yeah,
I think my thing is 8.5 to me means that there is a reasonable room for growth.
Yeah, I get
in terms of being able to be like.
In normal circumstances, I agree.
Yeah, to say 10 will perfect. Like, you can strive for perfection, but perfection is very rare. Like, no one's done the quad, and it's there. That's for a reason. Whether Liverpool are ever going to be good enough to do it, or we think we could ever be good enough to do it, two different conversations. I think for me, I look at certain things where I could be very critical of moments within the season where I'm like, I would have liked to have seen you do X, Y, or Z differently to just see how that would have panned out. And there are things next season now where I'm going to measure you against it.
And he'll know that better than anybody as
well. Yeah, 100%. So, like, and the thing I asked, I was on a space the other day, and I asked, like, has he done enough this season? So, for all of the deficiencies that we've, and again, when I say for all of them, the couple of, or handful of deficiencies we've had throughout the course of this season, has he shown enough in his management style to show you that next season, if those same situations start to appear, he's found the right solutions to overcome them in those moments? And I think the answer to that is yes, which is why I'm like, 8.5 is solid, but from next season onwards, the things that I'm going to be looking for are going to be, who do you want in the transfer window? Because you've been given tools and you've not trusted the tools you've been given. So by your own admission, you're not gonna play with them, and that's fine because you're the gaffer to do that,
to address it.
Yeah. So yeah, right now you've got a chance to address it. Go and make your acquisitions, but the acquisitions you get, I'm expecting you to then utilize them within the squad, so it's not just at 13, 14, and then to the detriment of those core players, we can actually not have that little bit of a dip that we typically have. So that's one.
That moves the needle for me. Just quickly on that point, that's the needle mover for me in terms of what we're capable of next season. I think there are definitely certain parts, like just within games, whereby you might want to improve things and do slightly different things, all that sort of stuff. However, I think the big, and it brings us on to a conversation I want to have potentially in the second half as the way this is going, about the summer and the summer priorities. But that to me is what changes. It's transformational, and some of the individual signings might lend themselves to that more.
Yeah.
But the summer itself and getting 17 players that Arne Slot trusts and wants, that is a game changer. Anyway, do go on.
Game changer. So yeah, so there's that. I think that's fair. I think Europe. I don't think Europe was kind to us this season in the sense that, and again, I think between Europe and the Premier League, because how can we win it and then still end up with 2 games midweek when we should be by rights getting the rest for winning it? That should have been the reward. You don't have to play those 2 double headers, knockouts, to go through into the next round of stage of the actual knockouts. We still ended up playing Everton and Aston Villa. By all means, Everton were on the up at that point, and Aston Villa have been a good form team in the Premier League all season. So that didn't do us any favours. And then, of course, obviously the cruel draw of PSG. PSG looking really good second part of the season as opposed to the first part of the season. But that to me is, I'm not asked about the league table in the Champions League no more. Like, whether we finish,
I don't think Liverpool will be next season. Yeah, I think we'll get ourselves qualifying like the top 2, 3, 4, and then the last couple of games might just be.
And I think that's, for me, is the key, is the crux of it being then like, okay, I want to know what you're like over 2-leg knockouts in Europe, because we've had managers before that are very good in the league or prove they can be decent enough in the league, but then struggle with Europe. We had a unicorn in Jurgen Klopp where he could take on them both and absolutely revel in both of the atmospheres and the complexities.
It's a good old point.
Do you know what I mean? And the last person that was like that was probably Rafa, but Rafa lent on that European experience. Had good moments in the Premier League, but wasn't enough to get us over the line.
Different Premier League.
Very different Premier League back then as well. Brendan Rodgers was...
that's naughty. I did wince a little bit at the tackle initially. It's Mark Gay. He's gone in studs.
Oh, no, Tony,
no, he's all right.
Yeah, the other
It's
angle
on
made it look
Sterling,
worse.
so it's okay anyway. You get a free pass from me with that, like. But
so I think obviously Brendan Rodgers was at moments in the league, but then you could really see the European pedigree of his management.
He never maintained.
He just never maintained it really, and I think Liverpool are at a point now where we're gonna be in that conversation at each season for the next couple of years. So I want to see and understand better. Are you a good enough European manager as well to go up against the European heavyweights? And then the last thing on that is the cup games and how we manage that. And I would like to go back to a little bit of the League Cup. Try and get the most out of the fringe squad to carry you through as many of those games as possible.
I think he did that.
I think he did that, but like build on that. It's an opportunity to build on that.
Because for me, the League Cup was perfect. Until it very much wasn't. In the final where we just never showed up and we were second best and we were outfought in a final, which I said at the time and I maintained to this day
knackered as well,
is unforgivable. Possibly, and that might be again due to what and the way he'd used the squad up until that point, because that was in the sort of the real midst of when we looked the most fucked all season really, in the final might have come at the worst possible time for us. But yeah, to turn up to a showpiece event like that and just want it less than the opposition is piss poor.
Yeah, really. It really is. So again, obviously, final day preparations as well. All right, you can work on them, but then that the FA Cup in terms of you now know there's more football games here than there is in Holland, and you understand what it takes out of those players because you'll have seen it. You've been working with them. Again, then when you're then making those wholesale changes. Trying to make sure that if you're going to make those wholesale changes,
chance for Arsenal, big chance. It's in. It's 2-1. It is 2-1. It's Leonardo Trossard.
Does the keeper
finds the ball inside the area? He's giving it
probably the best 5 minutes Arsenal have had for a while as well.
Yeah, because Palace
picked it up a little bit.
Palace were at him for a long old chunk of the first half. Equalised, deservedly so. Arsenal have responded well, and it's Leonardo Trossard. Finds room inside the box, shifts it onto his left foot and just squeezes it into the corner. Did it take a deflection? They're looking at Maxence Lacroix. I'm not sure why. We'll see the replay now. Here we go.
So it comes across.
Let's watch it back. Go on.
He cuts inside. Timber cuts inside. Drills it. He's just a little chops. And then
a little deflection. Can I say that's a very Diogo Jota-esque finish, isn't it?
Is. Yeah. And it is a big, underneath the studs of the player and just nestles.
Actually, does it? I think the shot's on target regardless, but the bounce
takes it away from the
keeper a little bit, and also does him with the bounce of the ball a bit, the keeper. But anyway, couple of super chats coming in. Let's just quickly deal with them. Jacob Weddle says people forget how little Klopp rotated in 1819 and 1920. There is merit in a tight unit. Absolutely agree with that point. I wouldn't hold it against Slot too much. True. I still think Klopp have had more faith in the rest of the squad than Slot shown this season for me. And Raj says, has to be a 10 out of 10. The truth is, a lot of us didn't know much about Slot, and now look, no one predicted this, and we've been spoilt. Nice one, lads. Yeah, absolutely, mate. I am inclined more to agree with that, in truth, because all the negatives that you've touched upon there are absolutely bang on the money. And in any normal season, if we were still living in Jurgen Klopp's world, and somebody said to me, what would you give Klopp this season? I would say 8.5, probably genuinely. But because of all the stuff I mentioned earlier on, and Slot walking into, and Slot learning the league, learning the rigours, the intensity of the Premier League,
the
officials, everything about it just amplifies the whole achievement to me for Slot. And there's definitely been shortcomings, and there's been areas where I think I said back in November he needs to rotate more. It's going to bite him in the arse or something. You know what I mean?
He was one of the first ones banging that.
I'm not being wise after the event. Like, the fucking receipts, we live on the internet. You know what I mean? They exist.
The receipts are there, man. The receipts are there.
Yeah, despite all of that, and despite me being more frustrated than most by that and wanting to go further in the FA Cup, and I was livid after Plymouth, absolutely livid. Arsenal chance from a corner, but still, in the cold light of days, I sit here on the cusp, on the brink of winning the Premier League. I can't help but give it 9 and up.
Yeah, no, and I take that. I think the one thing for me, I think as a Liverpool fan, it's become ingrained that anything worth having has come at either a price, or it's been come the hard way.
Yeah, well, just on that, sorry, just to interject there. When I did meet Klopp, I don't know if I mentioned it. One of the things he said to us was, we always paid the bill.
Yeah,
And, you know what I mean? And
yes.
that stuck with me. That stuck with me, genuinely. He said a lot of stuff in that room that day, as you'd imagine.
Yeah.
But that particular line resonated. I went, yeah, absolutely.
Again,
that's what you're saying.
Yeah, like, literally 100%. Like we paid the price for everything that we've and I love that. There's and the whole comes back to like, this means more and all the rest of it. But I genuinely love that as a Liverpool fan. This has just felt, and again, that's where I give Slot a lot of credit. It's felt easy. It's felt easy. And again, like, we live on the internet, so we've said it a number of times, and we say, yo, you know, just be patient and just wait it out. But he hasn't broke a sweat.
No. We're still in. How many times do you think we've been in fourth gear this season?
Yeah, and I just think there's easy. I think that's massive credit to him to be able to get that out of us, or not necessarily get it out of the fan, but he's managed to get that out of the players. I think the one thing that I would want to see in terms of an improvement, and this is a two-way improvement, as the club evolves next season, is that synergy between match-going fans, Slot, and the team. Mm-hmm. I think, again, we can go on about Jurgen and how he just got it, and
well, he bought into that.
He just bought into that.
He felt, and this is just him as a human being, he felt like, and this was possibly, and it might be sort of the Slots, again, you know, it might be a problem for him because he has inherited such a brilliant squad, such a squad ready to go. Whereas Jurgen Klopp walked into, everyone's seen the graphic of the first team Klopp ever picked a million times. There's some good players in there, but there were some not so good players in there. Yeah, so he had to do something else. He had to get Anfield with him. He needed that 12th man. Slot hasn't needed it. Yeah. But you're right, that I wouldn't call it a disconnect, that's unfair. But getting that connection and getting that back on side might be massive next season.
And I think, I think there's a understanding of when the team needs to go at it and get a bit aggressive and get a little bit gnarly in your face. The crowd can be the spearhead towards that, and I think. And I'm not saying at any point he's orchestrated and been like, put a break on that noise. Do you know what I mean? We don't need the noise. But I think he
hasn't been the other thing either, the orchestrator of it.
Exactly. Know what I mean? So I think, and again, there's probably just a case of, I just want to go about doing my business. And he said it from the off, I'm here to win the big trophies. So because it looked like they got the data science people, you can see the form of the other teams. You're seeing City falling away pretty early. You know you're probably not going to need 95 to 98 to 99 points. You're probably thinking, we've actually got a really, like, I know, like, I'm setting my stall out, but we've got a really good, like, I'm not going to get drawn into, like, you know, when you've got, like, you got your job brief and that's me bread and butter. If my bread and butter can get me that bonus at the end of, by just doing me bread and butter and just ticking those boxes, there's all that over. I can get to that in a little bit. I can get to that down the road. I can unpack all of that stuff there because these tools are going to be enough to get the job done for me right now. And I think he's been very clever in the way that he's just said, in the here and now, I'm going to live in the moment, and the moment is taking me towards a Premier League title. There are a lot of other components to this job being a Liverpool manager, and I'm going to enjoy unpacking them, but I'm not in a rush to unpack them. And I think it's taken me a minute to be like, okay, I see what you're doing, and I trust, because we don't want this to just be a one-off. Do you know?
No,
what I mean?
Absolutely not.
I think there's that in it as well.
No, like,
Why would you start?
And it feels like that.
Yeah, why would you start giving away all of your secrets now because you want to flex? We don't need to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what's so exciting about all of this. Not just in terms of, you know, potentially, you know, defending and winning more trophies in terms of the Premier League itself, but what's on the cards, what's on the table in terms of Champions League and domestic cups and all that sort of stuff. But it's interesting, and whether it was Slot understanding the assignment in terms of coming in and being briefed on the fact that, you know what, Liverpool fans are probably like more than anything else this year, Premier League glory, because I think that's the case. Genuinely, from a personal point of view, it definitely was. Or whether he just came in and, like you said, looked at it and went, well, the cups may well take care of themselves. I'll rotate in them and kind of see what that looks like. Champions League is always tricky. We'll go full strength and kind of see what happens there. But I'm going to put my entire focus and priorities on the league and make sure we've got the best, again, 11, 12, 13 players week in, week out on the pitch, pulling in the same direction. And it's come to fruition. Just on it quickly, one of the best things that Slot has done isn't even anything that Slot's done. It's the fucking Ruben Peters in terms of keeping people fit.
Yeah,
That's been the biggest uptick for me this season.
And I said from my thing was always from the outset was he's come in to try and get a little bit more out of certain players as a squad because we've got a good squad. And I think that's why he's used the league as a little bit of a barometer to say, well, how good are you? Over the course of those 38 games, how many points can I measure this current team at? Are you going to be a 77-point team? That then I need to go and look with Michael Edwards, Richard Hughes, and say, right, we're going to need this, and this to take us to that next level? Or have I got an 80-plus a season team? Actually, he's figured out within the one season, I've probably got a 90 to 95-point team, which means I can gear up for a Premier League or a title for the next 2 years with the contracts now. For the next 2 years, Bob Don, if we get all the preparation right, if we get all of the incomings right, outgoings right, and then if we get all of the injury good fortune, I've got a real good chance. But he had to test that. It wasn't like, because obviously Jürgen had done what he was like, well, how much of it is the Jürgen juice?
The fact that we're there,
do you know what I mean? And everything else in the crowd.
A lot of people,
how
rivals,
much is it? Yeah, because everyone
rivals
else
would have said it's all that.
It's all that. But it's, and I was never a believer, and I thought that was a huge disservice to the world class talent that we've had in this squad. So the fact that he's went, right, I'm going to put it to the test and use our, the measuring stick is that 13, 14, and everyone else that then comes in, are then probably going to start whittling the 14 now, maybe push them out down the pecking order, work your way up into the pecking order and into my plans. But I need to see what that's got for a season before. And the fact that, all right, we're going to win the league as a byproduct of that, will probably just reinforce, okay, that's taken care of. Now I can start actually having ambitions to what can happen for Liverpool Football Club, as opposed to just what happens with the playing team.
Adding some seasoning.
Yeah. Add a little bit of season.
Exciting. So I'll quickly do the super chat. We will have a break because it is half time. It is Arsenal 2, Crystal Palace 1. So as it stands, the Premier League title will not be ours tonight. We will be waiting until Sunday. But also as it stands, because the game is on a knife edge, you will be getting some second half action from us. I mean, we spoke about the game about 4 times, but long may that continue. Super chat from Jason. Possibly Derulo. Slot seems to favour having a squad match sharp with back-to-back games more than we used to. It worked in the league, but does it work in all comps? Errol? Yeah. Yeah.
I think by a lot, that's why I said I think the Champions League did us dirty a little bit.
I agree. I think it's circumstantial more than anything, really.
Yeah, and I think that was it. I think that you could put that 11 out against Plymouth again. And don't forget, we give them a goal. We pretty much wrapped them up a goal, really, penalty, do you know what I mean? It was a mistake. I think there is, that's where we find ways and find answers. The thing is, it's fine margins, and that has been something we've paid the bill on before. And I would love us to go the other way, where the fine margins work in our favour now, and you look back over the course of the season and say, that was such a big defining moment, and that was a big call. One of the things I thought he was absolutely brilliant at, and again, probably not so much he's needed it in the last 8 weeks, maybe a little bit. But his reading of the game for 45 minutes, he reads it like a book, mate. He literally looks, page 1, right, I'll get you through there, boom. And then
his
come half time.
Understanding is next level,
yeah, then half time. Because I'm thinking, you're not that guy that's doing those rallying calls and those. I can't see you doing it in the dressing room. But whatever it is that you're saying, you've got a very clear and concise message that the players understand. And more often than not, everyone used to they say the season second half FC. We come alive in the second half and we get the job done. That was, for me, that was him. Him being able to do that. It wasn't rallying up the lads and the troops saying, go on, do you know what I mean? He didn't
Johnny
have to G them up.
done a bit of that, like, but you're right, Sipka Hulshoff and Arne Slot, they're all business, they're all tactics, all systems. Listen, I'm sure when the moment calls for it, they will give you a fucking bollocking if you need it. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure he's got it in his locker, but I don't think that's his go-to way at all. Just quickly, we'll sort of start to wrap up now, so we'll have a quick break. I think where Slot clearly has won this season is we spent a lot of the first half of the season in particular talking about obviously the 3 contract situations and the fact that all 3 of them were sort of waiting and seeing what this new guy was all about. he's clearly about some very promising things, because Virgil van Dijk and Mohamed Salah have decided to commit 2 more years of their careers to him and the Liverpool project. So that in itself should excite a lot of us. Sam, we will take that break. As I mentioned, we'll be back for the second half because it is 2-1. After the break, we're going to do a big old chat like we haven't been doing already. We're going to do incomings and outgoings, and I know you want to stick around for that. So do that, and I will see you in like a minute or something. Hey everyone, a new month means just one thing. It means a new prize if you are a Legend subscriber on Redmen Plus. That's right, if you're already existing as a Legend, you're already in the hat, but there's still time to get over there and get involved. And not only Discord access, not only all the boss content, you will also be in the hat for an incredible prize this month. It's this signed retro Liverpool shirt, signed by the brilliant Skippy, Craig Johnson himself, the inventor of the Predator, midfield extraordinaire, never stop running. What a fella, what a story, and what a signature, by the way, as well. Get over to Redmen Plus, sign up as a Legend yearly or monthly, and you will get all the brilliant stuff that we do here, as well as a chance of winning that incredible piece of memorabilia. Take it easy. I was completely ready to come back then. Don't worry. Hello again. This is your watch-along hate. Watchalong.
I ain't even hating. Like, I'm genuine.
I'm quite enjoying myself.
Like,
but we are watching one rival team and Crystal Palace, so we can't, have some sort of loving. Yeah. We just need to let it exist in the background. It is Arsenal 2, Crystal Palace 1. So as mentioned a moment ago, as things stand, we will be waiting until Sunday to be confirmed as Premier League champions, which, for what it's worth, is absolutely sound by me.
Before we look to the summer,
go on.
Game of the season.
Oi. Old Trafford.
Really? Yeah, that was early doors as well.
Yeah, probably Old Trafford. It's always nice to win there, isn't it?
You don't think City? Just bopping City off the park?
Well, that week, it was Real Madrid and City back-to-back, wasn't it? That week was probably... Do you mean the Anfield?
Okay, so... Well, yeah, we bopped them off the park, haven't we? But even at their place, I think their place has been a lot harder to bop them off the park.
Yeah, it has, but we were just so superior, weren't we? And we did it in such a unique way. That was one of the games, because Slot tinkered, to come back to what we said a moment ago about the way he goes about the systems and what have you. He tinkered with what we were doing, didn't he, a little bit, and how he operated in that game. Yeah, there's still probably Old Trafford for me.
Probably Old Trafford, okay.
Think, yeah.
Although
saying that, I've got a massive soft spot for what we did at Brentford, because I love that sort of shit. I live for that drama, mate.
And do you think we've been... It's probably a terrible word.
Moments.
Yeah, do you think we've missed moments this season?
We've had 2.
I think we've just been spoiled.
In the past week.
Yeah, by how necessarily easy-ish it's been, where it's like...
Yeah.
It's hard
to get your head around it.
Yeah, we've not needed it. And as I say, because Liverpool fans, I think we need that
We're
little bit of excitement.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? We need that little bit of excitement. And
that's why Klopp was so perfect. And this sounds like I'm being negative towards Slot. I'm really, really not. I'm honestly not. But because of the way he was and his emotion and the fact he wore his heart on his sleeve and he completely used it early and bought into, from the minute one, when he sat down in front of the media and said all the things he said, we were completely invested. I'd have gone to war for that man from the minute he fucking put his foot down in the city. You know what I mean? And that's not to say I wouldn't do the same for Arne Slot, because I would, but it is just different. It's as simple as that. And we have had to retrain our brains into how we watch football a little bit. I think I'm there now. I think I'm on board, but it took me a little minute. I won't lie to you. It really did. Yeah, we got some people in it. We got City, Leverkusen. Leverkusen was a good shout.
Yeah, I was there. That was a good game. That
yeah,
was.
If you asked me Diaz, I'd definitely say that. Yeah. Villa was good. I enjoyed Villa at home as well. Because I think it's one of the first times Salah sat on the
advertising. Yeah, okay. I mean, he's very. He says Diaz every single game, so it makes no difference. But when we walked in to Bayer Leverkusen, he tapped me and was like, "Diaz is going to score a hat trick." And I looked at him and was like, "Lad, he's
who said that?
One of my best mates."
Did he? Yeah.
And I was like, "Lad,
it's not a nailed on bet week in week out. That is.
No, but he says Diaz, whenever Diaz does something, he texts me. He's always the first to say Diaz, and I'm like, shut up. Whereas he turned round as we walked in and went, Diaz is going to score a hat trick. And I looked at him and was like, "Lad, he's never scored a hat trick for us before. You're just gassing it because A, we're here, and B, Diaz is your guy." And then the next minute he went and scored a fucking hat trick, and I was just like, "Oh, put me in the bin." How is this guy just pulled it out of thin air?
He was on it that night, though.
Yeah, he was shit hot, man.
Yeah, took the piss out of Jonathan Sarr. Got a super chat here which I quickly want to discuss. I won't gamble the league. I'd rather win it today. We've lost to Spurs before. If we don't win on Sunday, then we have Chelsea and Arsenal. I'd rather Palace win.
Okay.
I can't.
Spurs are shit. They've lost 18 games this season. What are you talking about?
Yeah, there's just no jeopardy anymore for me. Like it's so a case of when, not if. Genuinely, I can't get on board with people panicking anymore. It's ours. It's ours.
And I think that goes back to the fact that Liverpool having to do things the hard way. Like there's just an innate irrational fear at this point of something could go wrong. Like no, like we've seen it go wrong in horrible ways, and we've lost out by very fine margins.
Never like this, though.
But never like this. And again, I think there's that.
A draw doesn't do it though.
No,
people are asking if a draw does not do it. A draw means they could still draw level with us on points. There'd have to be a 10-goal swing on goal difference, but they play us, so that'd give them. Let's live in a world where they beat us 3-0. That gives them a 6-point goal difference goal swing, obviously. So, yeah, a draw does not confirm the Premier League for Liverpool tonight. Crystal Palace have to win. However, just like Daz says, we have to win it on the pitch. Don't care if it's home or away. We need excitement in Liverpool match to win it. I wanted to be at home. I wanted to be on Sunday. My entire life has been
centred around that.
And I've said it for a while as well. Spurs is the game I earmarked some time ago. Little pencils.
We was like
Spurs is the one.
Spurs, yeah.
And here we are. We can touch it. We can touch it now.
I passed up tickets for Spurs.
Get the fuck.
Swear down.
Why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? That was stupid, wasn't it? Why'd you do that?
I got Palace instead.
Okay, I'm with you. I get that. That's fine.
Yeah.
You could have said that a second ago. I was really doubting who you were.
Logic, no. Like, because I had earmarked it, and I genuinely felt that'll probably be the day.
If you offered me now, Palace or Spurs, I'd still take Palace.
Yeah, and that was where I was at.
Yeah.
Like, it was Spurs would have been the
safe in the knowledge is likely to be Sunday. I'd still take Palace. That's going to be it. Sunday will be phenomenal as it stands.
Yeah.
Phenomenal day, especially if we do the business. Ironically, on this day...
Do we do the trophy lift at Palace then?
That's still Palace.
So we do the trophy lift?
Oh, yeah.
That's why I said that.
Yeah. That's all Palace.
I promise you, I never in my life this season, even before like we was going to win anything, but even when it come to...
Sorry, carry on.
Kind
of point I was getting.
No, you sums it up.
We're fine. Carry on, yeah.
But I never thought come the end of the season I'd be there on the last day of the season. Like I knew it was a home game, so I always automatically assumed that I'd probably be sat in this seat, and that'll be great if it is the case. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But no,
just didn't think.
Let's have it right. Like
rare as rock and all shit. Me getting a ticket for the last game of the season, and it's come through. So
no, mate, you are so fortunate. Like that's an unbelievable guess. It really is. And the Salvation Army here, Salvation Army. Sorry, I should say. The other one's a very different organisation, very valid organisation, but different. I waited 27 years for it just to see it win in person, and this is kind of we'll talk about the sum in a moment, but just to reiterate the importance of all of this, and I said it right at the top of the stream earlier on, like last time was special. Last time was the first time Liverpool won the league while I was alive, so it meant a lot. Of course it did.
And we're old, dog.
Yeah, I am old.
We're old, dog.
Yeah, I was going to get a fucking hair transplant at one point. But on a serious note, like it was boss. Loved it, of course it did. But I can't help but feel I was robbed. Absolutely robbed. So this time around, to have, even though I won't be in the stadium, to have fans inside the stadium and to be actually playing proper football, because whatever the fuck that was in COVID wasn't proper football. You know what I mean?
We're gonna have to. It's gonna have to feel like double bubble, and I've got things that I want to say once that comes to fruition. So just stay tuned. But the question that I was gonna ask you, because you want to move on to the summer, I'm gonna take it away from Liverpool for a second. Who is Liverpool's biggest threat?
Man City. Man City without a point deduction or without some sort of severe punishment post charges are Liverpool's biggest threat next season.
Okay.
In my opinion. I fear they're back underway in the second half, by the way.
I don't think that, just to come back on that, I don't think that rebuild goes as
no, do I. But there's a chance it does.
But, all right, so they've had one rebuild with Pep, went fabulously, done the rounds, won enough. Great. the odds that he replicates that with the energy that he's currently got and the levels that he's currently got in him to go again and build the house as strong as he previously did. I just think those odds are mad long.
And they look miles away from it right now.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Like, yeah, we can say that because we've been fearful of City in the past, but I don't think that's as nailed on as maybe our fears lead us to believe. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, it might be right. And it might be, again, old scars because of City and what they've done to us in the past, and obviously going toe-to-toe with them, and we know what that feels like, and it feels much, much worse than what Arsenal have managed to muster this season. However, I think we know Guardiola, clearly he's a big factor in what I'm about to say here, but it's more, they've already started a little bit in terms of reinforcements in January. Now, I don't think they've worked per se. I think Marmoush has been an excellent signing. I think Nico Gonzalez has been okay. Kuzminov, not really. Arsenal have won the ball back in a dangerous position. Just let this play out. But my fear is, with City, that if they aren't punished heavily, stroke at all, if they get away with it, they just do like a £300 million summer, and all of a sudden they're a problem again. Like Kevin De Bruyne is going, we know that, so that's a big, important, massive loss for them. Of course it is, but obviously young Haaland will still exist. The wingers, Savinho, Doku, flatter to deceive loads for me. Obviously, they probably need to do something else there. But yeah, I just feel, and again, Guardiola, he is the X factor in all of this, because whilst Arteta is clearly a very good coach, as it stands, Champions League, notwithstanding, he hasn't got over the line in anything significant with his own team.
No.
He hasn't done it.
No.
So until he does that, I can't see him as the main threat. Guardiola will remain that.
Would Champions League not change?
Yeah, of course it would, yeah.
Okay.
Because that changed everything in terms of Mikel Arteta, but it changed everything in terms of the squad, because they've then got that lived experience of going over the line, you know what I mean? So you could have a different conversation then, but as it stands right now, in spite of City's shortcomings and problems, which are fucking plentiful, by the way, and it's glorious to watch, I just think with a little bit of time, bit of breathing room, and a bit of money spent in the summer, more importantly, City, it's a big chance of balls loose in the box. It's still loose in the box. Fucking cleared off the line.
And it's going to be a free kick anyway.
He's going to a free kick, okay. Yeah, all of those factors, and again, Guardiola being the main one, makes it City for me.
Not worried about the Newcastles of this world.
Not yet.
The Villas.
No, I'm more worried about Newcastle now and Villa. I think Forest. Newcastle not Forest, no. I think Forest will have a decent season. I don't think they'll be battling relegation or anything like that, but I think this has been a bit of a flash in the pan, and it'd be interesting to see who comes and goes from them, because if they get sort of asset stripped of like Morgan Gibbs-White and Murillo, maybe two examples, maybe even Matt Sells, the keeper might go somewhere. Chelsea should probably look at him. They'll drop from where they are now, I think it's fair to say. Newcastle, I think they'll keep most of their key assets, i.e. Isak, Bruno, Joe Linton, Tonali. So they'll be, again, a force to be reckoned with, but I don't know. They're going to need a big shot in the arm in terms of summer to get close, I think, to bridge the gap.
They went 4 transfer windows without making a signing.
But they've been hamstrung by PSR forever, haven't they? Yeah, so what does that look like again?
But I'm led to believe that they can. This can.
Well, Champions League will help.
Yeah,
massively. But even when they were, we expected this lavish, free spending, fucking Kylian Mbappe, Neymar, etc. They've never done anything like that. They've actually been really smart. They've been really smart.
Yeah. But I think they've got one of them in the tank in reserve. They've got a shot to just say, when we've built what we need to build, then we can put the juice in it as well, and then go that little bit further. And maybe because they've done the Champions League thing before and then drop back out, maybe they think this is the time to, from a position of strength, now we gamble and go big, because even if we do a decent Champions League run, we want to make sure that the league position is sustained as well.
Can I ask you then, on Newcastle, let's carry on the Newcastle theme for a moment. I really like Eddie Howe, I'll be honest, I do. Anyone who's watched our Bias podcast on Plus will attest to that. Is he Premier League champion worthy? I think he's a brilliant manager.
I don't know.
I would have major reservations.
Yeah, I don't know, because I think for me, again, and then his form, I think from the turn of the year, it's us and them. Yeah, top two have been in terms of actual.
Can't believe they got fucking dismantled
the other day. Yeah, so it's crazy. But I think Liverpool on a bad day will lose a game 1-0, 2-1. I think Newcastle on a bad day will still lose by a big scoreline. I think they'll probably have that. And I think over the course of a season, if you've dropped 2 or 3 of them, that's a real dagger in your title credentials and hopes for pushing towards a title. So I'm holding on to that and clinging on to it a little bit. And next season they may get enough. Again, I think from their perspective, they might have a little bit of what Liverpool have this season, where they might have an 11 or 12 that are really good in the Prem. But they haven't got a big enough squad to then fight on, because they went to the last day in the league, in the Carabao Cup, won it. They're going to go to the last day to make sure that they secure Champions League by league position. They're going to be in the Champions League, so they're going to at least do the groups bare minimum.
They need a fight. Squad.
Do you know what I mean? So the squad requirements next season are going to be a lot bigger. How does he manage that?
Lewis Skelly Timber's gone over a bit funny on his knee there, and he's walking a bit gingerly as well.
But
injury problems too.
I think I've said it for a while. And I guess it goes back to the point about Arsenal in the Champions League. I said to a couple of the Arsenal lads that I do a bit of content with, the reality for me is this has felt as though this is Arsenal's corner taking quickly season.
Oh, really?
On the basis,
are you that confident they might do it?
No, I'm not saying I'm not confident that they might do it, but I feels like it has to be that season for them more than it feels like it is.
Yeah, okay, I get that.
It has to be, because we knew at one point, as brilliant as we are, we're not going to beat that City team to the league. No. But we feel after the last 2 years that we are good enough to be winners.
Yeah.
The only way we can do that is making sure that we pick up some level of silverware.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair enough, mate. Yeah.
I think Arsenal have left, maybe not by choice, but have left themselves in that. And again, the result against Madrid and the way that we did our Barca, to them and to the fans, that it then feels like mean something. It has to. All of a sudden, this has to mean.
Can I ask you then, what if it doesn't?
If it doesn't mean anything, then again, I think there's even more of a pressing issue where Arteta definitely has to stay. Well, when I say has to stay, he will stay. It wouldn't be my choice.
So he doesn't come into question at all?
He doesn't come into question, no. I think the new guy that they've got in that better, I think then that's where the business gets done. And again, it comes down to their seriousness. I think the one thing a lot of fans from their perspective get twisted is the fact that, like, I always think, what can you do on the pitch and how can you improve on the pitch year on year with the squad and the players that you've got? A lot of their first thought is, who can we sign to make us better? I think they would then look towards a better and think, if he brings in 3 or 4 players in areas that we've identified we need to improve on, they would feel a lot more confident that they could do it with the tools that they've currently got, if they can keep that squad together. So for me, that's the next question. That's the sign. If Berta goes and gets and addresses the main areas that they need to address, all of a sudden I'd think, okay, Arsenal aren't going to fall away. They're not in that place mentally, physically. The team are good. They're young. They know what's required to go deep in the Champions League, what's required to go deep in the league. They've added that extra little bit of firepower potentially, and a little bit more depth in the squad. They're going to keep you honest.
Yeah.
I think you need a team like that. Do you know what I mean?
But they might not get over the line.
They might not yet to get over the line. So, but it's like
they've done is keep people honest.
But again,
literally doing it as we speak.
Yeah, literally. But again, I think there's something in that where, at some point, if they keep people honest a bit long enough, if Liverpool get complacent,
confessions box.
If Liverpool get complacent and City don't rebuild to the strength that they previously did, Arsenal are just going to be there and waiting, and that's what this season was supposed to be.
That's the thing.
But he didn't get it all right.
Well, can I ask you? You made a point there, in terms of like the current crop of players who are now, in some cases, 3 or 4 seasons without a trophy, certainly a major one. A couple more, like 2 or 3.
All of them? The majority of that squad.
And there's some big hitters. Let's have it right. There's some big hitters there. You can sort of discount Declan Rice, because I don't think he's going anywhere, and he's already won a trophy, albeit with West Ham. Bukayo Saka is who I'm thinking of here. Definitely 2 centre halves come into the equation. Like, let's just suggest, that's nice football, by the way. Real Madrid, come knock him for one of those 3 I've just mentioned. Is there a temptation?
Yeah, of course there's going to be a temptation. We've seen it and felt the consequences of temptation as well.
But I mean, because of what, again, Arsenal's failings. Does that mean it's even more, okay, I've give you a chance? We've seen it for Suarez, we've seen Coutinho. Off I go.
Here's my mad take. Saka stays for 2 years and then we sign him.
Jeez. You heard it here.
I could see Saka.
Salah replacement.
I could see Saka being the Salah replacement when he's in his prime, and Arsenal have flattered to deceive in terms of lifting big trophies. I could see us testing the waters and being like, look, you've had a good run, you've been loyal. Oxlade-Chamberlain settings all over again. But if you want to come and win things, yeah.
Don't hate it. So much of that would depend on the contract. But yeah, listen,
so much of it, again, and obviously, I think that 2 years gives us the time to then start doing the tapping up.
Yeah.
And then I think Saliba is another one. I think Saliba's got one season left in him there, and it's like, look, at the end of the day. But again, it depends on his contract. And if Real Madrid are going to continue with this model of, we want the best talent, but in order to get the best talent, we don't want to pay for it. He's running your contract down. Then it might be a case of Saliba has to then run that contract down to force that move ultimately. But I could see him going overseas. Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, yeah, the Saka thing, I'm absolutely on board. I've said for the longest time that he's probably the closest thing to Salah that's out there, I'd say. And again, when I say close, I mean he's fucking miles away. But you take my point. Simon Cook. Arsenal will not stand still this summer. 100% concur and agree. Nor will Man City, nor will anybody else in the league for that matter, as we kind of touched upon. So therefore, Errol, what do the Reds need to do? Now, we've seen no business in January. We've seen very little business, some may argue no business last summer either. We've seen Virgil van Dijk commit his future to the football club. We've seen Mo Salah do likewise as well. So, good and bad so far under Richard Hughes' watch, I think it's fair to say. All the noise from Van Dijk, from Arne Slot, from the reputable journalists out there is that Liverpool are in line. I've seen somebody today say 4 or 5 signings. Priorities. We'll do priorities and then we'll do personnel in terms of names.
All right.
Priorities, what we saying?
Left back. Whether that is new competition for Robertson. And Robertson becomes more of a squad player.
I'm going to ask you to nail your colours to the mast on what that is, by the way, in a second.
Okay, cool. So left back. Yeah. Right back. I'm working on the premise that Cenk goes. So I would want another right back to complement Conor Bradley for competition places. I would like a creative spark in our team that isn't a fullback.
David Raya came flapping at that then. Going to be goal kick to Arsenal. Carry on.
I'd like another creative spark. Somebody to compete with either a Harvey Elliott, a Szoboszlai, a Jones, someone else, a McAllister in that midfield that can really light it up, can drive with the ball as well. I like, is it Rodgers?
Morgan Rodgers.
Morgan Rodgers, but I like someone like that.
Homegrown as well.
I like somebody of that ilk. And then I do think we're going to need 1, if not 2 forwards.
Okay.
I think that's 5, is it?
That is 5. So 5 signings.
5 signings.
Okay, let's do it.
I don't mind Stefan coming back and then adding into the mix for...
Now you're speaking my language.
Do you know what I mean? I don't mind him coming into the fold to... But I don't. What I don't want to see with Stefan is he then becomes next season's Harvey Elliott, because I know he can do. I know why Endo hasn't played the games he's played, because stylistically, Slot doesn't want to destroy it in there. He doesn't want somebody just breaking things up and crashing it. And the last 10-15 minutes when we're trying to manage a game and get a point, fine. But for us to help our patterns of play and our build up, that's not what he wants. Stefan isn't of that mold. Stefan is a lot closer to a Fabinho. He's a Fabinho. Gravenberch hybrid.
Yeah, it's a fair point, mate.
Stefan, so like he's got that kind of range and ability to him. So I would want to see him be trusted with more opportunities. So I wouldn't mind getting the additional midfielder from him. Yeah,
you're preaching to the choir when it comes to Stefan and me, and I've been really
pleased. People are shouting centre backs in the chat as well.
I agree. I think we'll have a conversation about that as well as we go along. But just quickly to address the Stefan thing, I think the part of the reason I want to bring Stefan back and to see him, just be part of the squad again is because I believe in his ability, and we've seen it. We've seen his talent. Listen, I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say anything other than the fact he's had a horrible 12 months. The injury problem and then the Austria loan didn't work at all. The start of his loan at Las Palmas didn't work.
Started to pick up, hasn't it?
It's recently. Yeah. He had a really good game 2 weeks ago against Getafe, and then he had a brilliant game last midweek against Atletico as well. So better signs, just at the right time as well, you might argue, in terms of coming to the tail end of the season and pre-season as well, of course. But also, I think the thing with Stefan is There's so much work to be done elsewhere in the squad that saving yourself going and buying
15, 20, 40, 50, whatever mil.
Exactly, the money and also just the legwork of buying another rotational option for Gravenberch, bring in Seven Pachetic, keep Rotaro Endo, keep James McConnell, and all of a sudden you've got your cup lads and you've got your Premier League rotation options. Sound done. For me, let's go.
No-brainer.
No-brainer, personally. Let's go from top to bottom and let's do the left-back situation first. You said competition. I feel like you said competition for Robertson.
Yeah.
So that's where you let Tsimikas go.
I would let Tsimikas go on the basis that you've had enough time here to prove that you could be the mainstay above Robertson when Robertson's level dropped, and your level has never went above his in terms of consistency. You might have had moments that have been above, but consistently you've never went above what Robertson can put in for us. And for his value in terms of his experience, his wherewithal, knowing how to do it, being a winner, being a senior player within the squad.
Leadership,
all that leadership stuff. I would rather have Robertson managed minutes while somebody else is doing all the heavy lifting.
Agreed.
You then can pick the right games for Robertson to come in and play.
And I think you get a better version of Robertson.
And that would be my hope, that he then can give us 20 really good games as opposed to giving us 40 okay-ish games.
Can I ask you just on the Robertson thing as well? His contract expires in just over a year's time. Would you give him a new one? Or would you let him have this year, help Kirkes, and then just walk off into the sunset with loads of medals?
Well, I think it depends.
Back up to Glasgow.
It depends how quick Kirkes adapts to what's going on.
Okay.
Ultimately, if he needs an arm around him a little bit longer, then again, it's the Milner thing. Sometimes having that kind of old head in the squad isn't necessarily a bad thing. And if he's not demanding ridiculous wages and he wants to be the lad that stays at Liverpool for as long as he possibly can, I'm all for it. Do you know what I mean? He's never been bad vibes in this squad. Do you know what I mean? At any point, he's invaluable to us.
And I also think, just on it, I said this on the pod on Monday, so if you watch that, forgive me. I still think he is the chosen option to stick around for all the reasons you just mentioned there, but because he's still got that fire in his belly, that ambition, that drive to be the number one. And I think that's brilliant to have him pushing Kirkes and saying, don't take it for granted that you're just going to play every week, mate, because I want to play every week.
I want to play every week as well.
And them two going head to head. We've seen what it can do with Diaz and Gakpo a little bit this season, pushing each other. It's fell off a little bit recently, to be fair, but still, like, having that would be brilliant for the squad. Just want to quickly address this super chat as well. On Pachetic, I just want to say that bad loan spells can still help in development of a footballer. Absolutely can, and good experiences like that, whether you're fighting relegation in some league or you're having to learn the hard way a little bit. But Pachetic definitely learned the hard way over in Austria. It just didn't work at all. Somebody a moment ago asked about Rio and Gamoa as well, who scored twice for the under-21s on Friday night, and he's exciting. And how much we'll see of him next year, I'm not sure. He's one of them. I just quickly, and somebody mentioned Trey Naoni as well in the chat just a second ago. I think him, Trey Naoni, are lads that are so gifted and so talented and so highly thought of at Liverpool, they will never go out on loan. They'll just stay in the Liverpool ether forever, and we'll look after them until they're ready. You know what I mean? I think like Jadon Dans, we've seen it with Lewis Kumas, James McConnell probably comes into this bracket as well. Somebody mentioned Dans right now. They do need loans. They're ready for first team football elsewhere to learn. But there are certain ones that, just like I say, will just forever be at Liverpool. Let's do the right back. You said right back to compete with Conor Bradley?
Yeah, I think Conor could potentially be the number one right back. But I think he's going to have to share the role. Okay. I think I can see him. Why? I've got reservations over his fitness. So I'd want to manage that as best I can and try and not to overplay him, so then he breaks down, and then if he breaks down, he's done for a long sustained period with then having to shift Jones out there, McConnell out there, whoever else, just to be a bit of a makeshift right back.
Chance of Palace.
Big chance.
Tipped over. It looked like he got it all along. I think it's Adam Wharton arrived in the box. No, it's not actually. It's Anderson. I don't know. It's gone. It's not Joachim Anderson. He left the football club. I've no idea who it was. A Crystal Palace player arrived inside the area.
It is Wharton, isn't it?
No, it's not Adam Wharton. No, definitely not. It might be that lad I've never heard of in my life, which would make sense.
Yeah, that would.
It comes off his shoulder, and David Raya tips over the bar, nearly went under.
Wow.
There's far too much of a football match going on here. David Raya again with a big save at his near post this time. And it's cleared away from the corner. It was Devaney. Yeah, I thought it was.
Okay,
Okay,
Devaney.
we're fine. All good.
So yeah, I think that would be my that's my one reservation.
The fitness stuff.
Yeah, again, it's not saying he's not a fit player, but again, just being available and the injuries. I don't want him to be a bit of an injury-prone player, so I'd rather manage it. And then again, it's about the competition because you've got a year now to then prove that can be your spot and the other person can be your Tsimikas.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by the Conor Bradley stuff because whilst everything we've seen at Liverpool suggests that he does have a problem staying fit, he managed like a 52-game season whilst on loan at Bolton like 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. It's mad. That's mad to me. Like when he was 2 years younger, obviously as well. So, yeah, I hope that he is the answer. But I've got exactly the same concerns that you have. Yeah, and that to me makes it all the more fascinating in terms of what we do in that position. Because I think we need to do something without a doubt. Because I don't think you can just rely on Conor Bradley because you know what happens there.
Yeah,
you get to October and something happens.
Something happens.
Yeah, all of a sudden, you might have let Joe Gomez go by then. And you've got Jarell Quansah, who I like a lot as a footballer, but he's just not a right back. So yeah, go and do one. This is providing on the proviso that Trent leaves. Obviously, the profile of what that player is tricky, really, really tricky. Like I don't know what age he is because people would suggest Ola Aina at Nottingham Forest, who's 28, 29. So did you go and do that low cost
on a free?
Yeah,
just
do a job for a bit. Ooh,
he's like Nathaniel Klein. How's that not gone in? Oh my!
Right across the face of Arsenal are
all over the
panic
place.
stations at the back here.
To be honest with you, mate, I wouldn't mind that because again, it's that experience, having another experienced head in the mix, someone who's been playing at a good level, and it's kind of like Nathaniel Klein-esque in terms of like style of right back again.
Well, we know all Slot wants his fullbacks to be is conventional fullbacks, ultimately, doesn't he? He doesn't really care for your flamboyant assists, 50-yard passes, etc. They're nice, but
they're nice, and they're in an additional to 12. But where does the creativity come then?
That's
the key question.
That's the next question.
Fundamentally, and I always go back to it. So you have probably heard me say it, God knows how many times. Klopp had Coutinho as his creative fulcrum for a number of years, utilised that as the means to find creativity in that Liverpool squad to unlock doors, and it worked, and he got it right for the time. Once the Coutinho experiment was done by him dipping out, we went to a fullback model. And for those next 2-3 years, our fullbacks were absolutely on smoke. The way that they went about their business was unbelievable. And then it tilted more once Mane left towards that right. Even the last season of Mane, really, I'd say probably started to tilt more towards that right-hand side, and we became very heavily reliant on the creative spark that is Trent Alexander-Arnold. And that's probably been where Liverpool's last real... We've had the Thiagos in the mix that can do...
Nowhere near often enough, though.
Exactly. And then we've had other players that will come and create... But again, in terms of...
You right?
Embedded within the system, that's where your creative force comes from. It was galvanised by Trent on that right-hand side. So if you then say, right, we're going to go back to conventional, and Kirkes has got that delivery, he can be early Robbo, back up and down, and we get used to the bylines, and you can whip them in from there from a more conventional standpoint, fine, because that will offer us something, and it'll offer us a lot of outballs as outlets, which is great. But then to me, I'm like, all right, so where's the creativity? Who is going to be that sole creator, even if it is in this and it's a shared role, who then picks up that mantle? Is that more heavily leaned on Salah and then tweaking Salah's role? That's why I said I'd have that 10. I'd go out and spend a little bit of money on somebody whose job is, I'm not worried about what's going on behind here.
It's my job to make things happen.
Up here.
That's exactly. And the Salah thing, clearly, it's foolish of me to sit here and say that Salah can't be that creator in chief, because obviously he can. The fella's a genius, and the numbers speak for themselves. But to me, you've got to find a way of getting the ball to Salah.
Yeah.
Ultimately, and that's the creator that we're looking for. You want the pass before the pass, and that's where Trent has been invaluable. That's where Trent has been brilliant for us, and he has been that Arsenal chance. Going to be it's in. Going to play. I think it's just gone out of play. Martinelli tapped it
offside. Oh no, he's out of
kick. He's given a goal kick. It did look like it had just gone out. I thought Arsenal made it 3-1 momentarily there. Anyway, Trent's been a creative void. Sorry, his absence will be a creative void for us. He's been the creative force for us for for such a long time. He's onside, by the way. Let's just watch this. He hasn't give offside, has he?
No,
he's give this now. It's gone out on it.
I don't know if that did go out, though, you know.
I think that's a goal.
I think that's a goal, you know, lad.
I'm not having that's gone out, you know.
That's in. That's miles in.
It's Julian Timber.
That's miles into great. It's a
He's
great read.
acrobatically.
Kept it alive. It's had a fucking nightmare.
Not just a goal.
That's got to be a...
It
is.
It is. Hearing something now. It might be 3-1 Arsenal. I don't know who that ref is, by the way. He's stopping. He hasn't got play going yet. He's getting message from VAR. I reckon that's a goal. I don't know whether it looks like he gives the goal kick because he's not even close to being offside. I guess they're going to check whether the ball crossed.
However, yeah, they check it from about 20 different angles.
Yeah, it might take a while. We'll deal with this and then we'll carry on with our
conversation.
Transfer chat. I mean, we might be getting out of here if it goes 3-1. I won't lie to you.
Yeah, look, we'll give
might be night over. All the best of your Sunday. They are checking. Offside? He's not offside.
He's not offside.
He's miles onside. If it's just offside, it's 3-1 Arsenal. He's miles onside. Don't worry about that. It's closer to going out than it is offside.
Yeah, 100%.
Fucking not even close.
Yeah, here we go.
It's got to be a goal,
It's going to be a goal.
I've never seen that ref in my life, by the way. Who is that guy?
Mad.
It's going to be 3-1 Arsenal.
Yeah, it looks like.
It's going to be 3-1 Arsenal. It's going to be on to another day, which is... Honestly, don't stress about it, everyone.
Yeah. Mañana.
We got this.
Mañana.
We got this.
Mañana.
It's all good. It's all good.
Mañana.
We have 5 more games to win 1 more game. Fucking chill. Everybody stay calm.
Mate, I can't.
You notice how we're not panicking about Arsenal? We actually want this goal to count.
Yeah.
That tells you everything. That tells you everything. Here we go. They're doing the out. Mate, that's as far as it goes.
What?
That's
awful. What?
The ball is not even close.
You can't even... It's in.
Sorry, I'm dying. It's just in. It's got to be a goal.
It's got to be a goal. It's got to be.
I did think to the naked eye, like,
here we go. Here we go.
We have to got his whistle in the mouth.
Yeah.
VAR sign.
Goal. Yeah.
Goal. What? Why is he putting it to the floor?
What? No goal.
I don't know. He's giving
a goal kick. He's given the goal kick.
I don't know what's just happened. Out. It was out of play. That was the maddest little scenario. No goal. Anyway.
It looked in. But anyway.
Anyway. We move on.
As we were.
Still 2-1. We still have to stay here. Fuck. Where were we? 10. And just like magic, Simon Cook.
Wirtz do the Firmino role.
Maybe not the Firmino role. The out-and-out 10 for me, Florian Wirtz. Do we go, because we've seen Szoboszlai do a hybrid runner, midfielder, 8 shifts, and I think he said today, I've seen quotes basically saying, I've got to do a lot of work on the right-hand side, which is right, ultimately. Maybe less so if it is Conor Bradley, who knows. But if it isn't Szoboszlai, because I don't think we get enough creativity, enough output from him, I think it's fair to say. If it isn't Harvey Elliott, because I don't think Arne Slot thinks he gets enough work rate, physicality, athleticism from him, there has to be a combination of the two. Which way do you go? Do you go all creativity? Do you go Florian Wirtz? Do you go out-and-out midfielder? What's the solution here?
Again, it's tricky, and it kind of then leads you to the 10 becomes the 9 problem for me in that, because ideally you'd want your 9 to be able to solve that problem for you. You'd want your 9 to be able to score the goals when it's put on a play for them, but they can then drop in to make that midfield a little bit more of a 4, and then actually be able to add something a little bit
Bring
deeper.
back Bobby Firmino is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Basically,
that man so much.
because if we just have that 10, the amount of running that a Maka and Gravenberch,
it becomes a double pivot, probably.
Basically, more or less, do you know what I mean? And it's like they got to sit a little bit deeper, and then just hope that one individual can just float and be really elegant in the way that they do.
You think we can have that?
I don't think we can have it yet. As much as I want a 10, I just don't see us going to that style. And again, maybe that's because I haven't seen a sample size of us doing that. Nope. Even when we've got the likes of a Harvey Elliott and saying, right, for 5 games, we're just going to have a Harvey floating in that
He hasn't
half
done it,
space.
has he?
You know, he's not experimented, he's not gambled on it.
But he has done it in the past. This is what I can't quite figure out. He has had attacking midfielders who produce numbers, like serious. Interestingly enough, what has happened this season at Liverpool flies in the face of a lot of what Slot's done in the past.
Yeah.
Because his 10 scored goals and provided assists, and his centre forward scored goals. And we haven't seen either of them things, really. So that's what makes this summer all the more fascinating about what we look like next season.
What would you go for?
I'd go for an out-and-out 10. I would go for an out-and-out 10.
Yeah.
Somebody to play as a 10, personally, yeah, I would. I think we're missing it.
Do we have to give up the ball a little bit more if we do that then?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably.
I'm not against it, but I just think, if he could get that out of his 9 and keep the midfield to be quite industrious,
workmanlike.
I think he'd probably keep that.
Interesting. So you want the facilitator 9? Not the numbers 9.
Yeah, not the number. I don't think we need the numbers 9
because of Salah.
I think Salah's still going to be that guy for us at least for one more season.
Okay.
And I said it when we did the announcement conversation.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Salah, if he doesn't have a 30-goal season, he'll have a 20-goal season.
Yeah.
And by all accounts, that's still fucking brilliant.
It's most of the players.
It's most of the players in the Prem. By what's currently
it's
in
only
the Premier
not
League.
Haaland.
Yeah, you know, it's Haaland, Chris Woods had a good season. Isak.
Yeah, Isak's
Do
beat
you
in
know
the
what I mean?
conversation, absolutely.
Those 3, and again, I don't know if Chris Wood has the same season again next year, but those 3 there, outside of that, he's back in the fold of what everybody else is producing. So that is enough, really. But you need somebody else that can be that facilitator, then that can open it up to the left-hand side, and then can probably get you some more goals from midfield as well. If we find that, I think we could be on to a little bit of a winner, if I'm being honest with you.
Before we do the forward conversation, and then we'll move on to the centre-back conversation, and then we'll potentially have time to look at some outgoings as well, because this looks like it's going to more or less the death, this game. The 10, for me, could be, and he probably is, more in the mould of Szoboszlai because he does offer that running power, that physicality. We mentioned his name earlier on. Somebody in the chat mentioned his name earlier on as well. And it would depend probably quite heavily on what happens to Aston Villa between now and the end of the season. But I do think Morgan Rogers is a very viable candidate.
I shouted him.
Was it you?
I like him.
I think he's a really viable option.
And he's a driver. I said to you before, I want someone that can drive in that 10.
But his numbers, mate, he got 14 goals, 13 assists this season, all comps, 8 and 9 in the Premier League. That's fucking impressive, mate.
It is. It really is. And as I like that he's got a little bit of the ox in him that he can drive
Great
with
shout.
it. He's got a shot on him as well, but he can unlock. He can unlock a door, and I just in terms of his style again, the money touted for him probably because of the season he's having with Villa would be
and English tax as well.
Yeah, it'd be difficult to prize him away. But if we could, that to me, that's the ideal profile because you can also then get Szoboszlai to see in his game. Go when you're getting your chances, go and replicate. We've got 2 like for like almost. So it doesn't matter what day of the week it is. We'll play Szoboszlai, but play like that. We'll play Rodgers, play like that, and hopefully use to bring each other on a little bit. You'd probably very rarely see them both operating in the same midfield at the same time. It'd probably be one or the other, and I think that would work and probably just push Szoboszlai on a little bit more. I could go for that, but then as I say, I still think with the outgoing that is going to happen, we're going to need somebody in between the sticks as well to kind of also put the ball in the back.
I thought you meant keeper for a second.
No.
Anybody else with me there? See my
between the
face?
sticks. Just...
honestly, I was like,
I'll keep it all. I'll keep it all.
Mahabadash Village coming in, like, fine. We've got enough work to do without fucking adding that. Okay, let's settle on Morgan Rogers. I think we do Kirk as left back.
Yeah.
Right back one's proper tricky for me. Ollie is a candidate. Short of that.
So if you had Ollie as your senior candidate.
Oh, what a save, Dean Henderson. Ooh. Wow, that's a point-blank save to keep it as 2-1. Jeez, Arsenal are knocking on the door. Anyway, Ollie
yeah, as your senior, you would be a younger kind of same age as Bradley. Go and push Bradley on a little bit.
Yeah,
both got high ceilings.
Yeah, probably that Javaria Reed at Feyenoord.
Okay,
young lad,
I've not seen any of them.
Young. There's not many options. Like I was talking to somebody, Nico Williams coming back. That's where we're at, and I like Nico Williams, but still, Pedro Porro was suggested. Jeremy Frimpong is not a right back.
Okay,
He's just not.
Okay.
He's brilliant. But he's not. Somebody mentioned him a second ago and said, like, underlapping runs with Salah. He'd do that, but because he'd be sort of on Salah's toes, he's exceptional. Like, I'd take him at the football club, but he's not your right back.
Okay.
No.
And then the other thing I was going to say, for the other 10, João Pedro.
I think he's more the possible 9 facilitator.
Okay.
He got sent off the other day, didn't he? Should he get sent off for Brighton the other day?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think he did. João Reed, somebody else mentions him. He's a bit younger again. Gertrude, somebody said a second ago. I think that's a good option. I think Gertrude would be probably on a slot's choice as well, because he's worked in before. Feyenoord. Josh Owen, no. Okay, let's move on to the forward areas. Let's do the centre forward to begin with. You've kind of already touched upon it, mate, but let's spin off it. What do we think? Facilitator, 9, Isa?
Or just a goal scorer out and out. I just think, unless Salah's been told, like, we want you to stay and we're going to go out and go all in for the likes of an Isak, and we want you and Isak to have a Suarez Sturridge type partnership where you can just continue to put it on a plate as you have for many Liverpool forwards over the years, but we're going to have somebody that's going to absolutely finish his dinner every single time.
Yeah.
I would go with what I've seen before, and that is having somebody to be the facilitator. So then that makes the whole front line come alive again.
Okay.
I would happily have that as a bit of a compromise. Somebody that's happy to get between 10 and 15 goals a season, but will have a really good fitness record, be consistent with it. But ultimately, their role is to make sure that whoever's left side of them, they get in front of the right positions to be shooting and scoring, and Salah gets all the opportunities that we need him to get so he can finish his dinner as well throughout the course of a season. I don't know if we can prize Isak away, and unless there was a world where he definitely wanted to come and put in a transfer request, that to me could become a transfer saga that Liverpool don't typically get drawn into too often.
Nope.
And I think when...
Mateta!
Oh, what a finish.
What a goal
finish.
that is!
What a fucking finish.
Oh my shitting Christ!
We're on.
We're on!
Mateta! Come on, Palace! With 10 minutes to go! Let's fucking have it! Let's win it tonight!
Unbelievable. He's been on the pitch for a minute.
Let's win it tonight!
I was going to say he's on when I got a chance.
We're on!
He's just stole the ball and he's dinked the keeper for about 40 yards.
I'll have him.
There's your facilitator.
Bring him in the summer.
That is a fucking filthy goal. Oh my word. We are 1 goal away.
Have we seen shit goals tonight? I think they've all been decent, haven't they?
They have, to be fair, yeah. They have. We are 1 Crystal Palace goal away from
what's
winning
Raya
the
it's
Premier
Saliba
League.
again. Saliba with another...
Is that pass? Oh no, it's this pass. Let's see.
It's that?
He just gets...
There it is.
Oh,
no.
It is. He sees the keeper, not just off his line.
He's out of nowhere.
He's playing left back, to be honest. Mateta, it's a poor pass, and he just, it's drifting away as well. Clips the bar and in. 2-2, Crystal Palace.
Come on, Crystal. Let's go.
Away from Premier League glory. The whole night, everything changes if Crystal Palace
find the net again in the next 7 minutes. Our whole night goes sideways.
Shit, son. And fucking Oliver Glasner is buzzing.
Live Bird says, yo, I'm on the M6, come on the Eagles, yo!
On the N6 on the way to Anfield way, I reckon.
Descend.
Mate, we might have to concentrate on the game for a minute.
Yeah, let's do it.
We haven't done it all night, but it might be time.
Jean-Philippe Mateta. Bad man.
This is it now.
I don't even know what he's got on. It looks like he's got a phone going down his head.
What a waste of time, that fucking piece of apparatus is.
What is
that like? I don't understand what that's doing. I know he got kicked in the head, but I can't see how that's helping.
How old is Mateta? I think he's about... He's like old.
24?
Is he?
He's young. 24, 25, I want to say. 24. Anyway, we will watch the game for a little bit. We're here now.
Concentrate the boys with Palace fans tonight. Now we're in it. We're in the moment.
We've not needed to be fair, but now we're all right.
We've made things interesting. It is now 2-2.
I'll check how old Jean-Philippe Mateta is.
Arsenal on the ball.
A lot of people wanted to draw earlier on. They might be getting a wish.
Yeah.
They might be
Doesn't change anything.
The draw?
For us. It changes.
No, yeah, no, mate. It means we can draw the weekend, basically. The poll was really evenly split. 35% Arsenal win, 32 draw, 33 Palace.
Wow.
At the minute, the 32 are getting a wish.
How old was he?
Pretty sure.
27, yeah, something like that.
Older thought, forgive me.
Yeah, I said 26,
Stay
27.
Stay clear.
Yeah, we're not going for that. But yeah, and I just don't want to get drawn into a transfer. I want all of our business to be really surgical. This is who you want. Boom, go get them.
No more fucking Zubimendi messing.
Yeah, none of that nonsense. We've had it for the last 2 seasons with the Zubimendi, Tchouaméni, Bellingham. Like we got drawn into it a little bit too much over the last couple of. Can I say
Michael Edwards is back in the building now. He won't want any part of that shit. You know what I mean? Any part of that whatsoever. We've got no Palace songs. Unfortunately, they're glad all over they sing. I'll do a rendition of it if they win. All right, let's put it like that. No, I think Isak would be. Listen, he'd be everyone's first choice, wouldn't he?
Yeah,
the fella's fucking
make no
brilliant.
mistake, he wouldn't be brilliant, but
do you
get Isak done in 2 weeks?
No, I'm not sure you get it done. And end the sentence there, to be honest.
But you could easily see how you get drawn into the hope that you could get done.
We've done it already.
And the whole back and forth. And while you're doing all that and exerting all that energy, it then means players that you could have got done.
Yeah. Hugo Ekitike's gone somewhere else by that point. Victor Gyökeres has gone somewhere else, but absolutely.
Awesome, man.
Again, Isak he's that needle. If Liverpool need a transformational signing this summer, he's the answer.
Yeah.
If Liverpool need to do bits of business here and there that just improves the general squad, you can do other things. Half a chance for Palace here, by the way. Oh, I thought he was diving in then for a second. Shit the bed. We're on 10 to hooks now. It wasn't supposed to be this way. That's a foul, though. There you go. Free kick to Arsenal. On the edge of the road. The problem is here, Errol.
How can we celebrate?
Arsenal are desperate to win this game. And so are Palace.
I know.
It's all got a bit real all of a sudden. I'm not going to lie to you. It's all got a little bit real. Let's see what happens. It's a lovely goal, that Mateta.
Oh,
that was a pick of the bunch. Unbelievable.
They're still pressing.
Oh, they're both going at it. Hammerman, fucking tongue. Arsenal defensively tonight, by the way.
Been all over the place. They've had like a bit of a night off, haven't they? They've been very casual. And to be fair to Palace, the bit that we have watched and seen, obviously not really commentated on, they've had a lot of sustained moments.
Yeah. They've been at it. Palace, they played some lovely stuff. Considering, again, I wasn't sure how focused they'd be tonight. I thought attentions and minds might be with their FA Cup. Because the FA Cup...
Who are they playing? Who did they draw? Let us know in the comments.
I think it's Villa. I think Forest play City.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Forest City, and then these have got Villa. Oh, little nutmegs. Daniel Munoz. He's a good player, by the way. He's an option at right back. Keeper will get that, will he? Yes, he will. Okay. I can't believe I'm actually having to sort of commentate on this thing now. But there we go. The Reds, eh? What a fucking funny world we live in. Right, Arsenal passing it around the halfway line. Taking the time. They brought Saka on. They made quite a few subs, actually. Which
Ethan Ranieri's just come on as
well. I've seen that, yeah. There we go. Right. They've started using Declan Rice on the ball. They've started using Kieran Tierney again. Do I like eggs? I'd like eggs, yeah.
Would you have Kieran Tierney?
Come again.
Like have him as a
Kieran? For us?
Yeah.
As a left back?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Would you? That proper caught me off guard. That is the maddest question you've ever asked.
Really? Yeah. Well, he's going to leave these on a free.
Sound?
Do you not think he's good?
I thought he was good like 2.5 years ago.
Okay. He's still young. He's only about 26.
Is this just me? Am I missing? No.
Don't get me wrong. I just don't think Arteta's fancied him. I think he'd still do a good job.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be brilliant. I don't think he's going to be like. I don't think we can go and sign the next world class left back, but I think he's a step up from Tsimikas over the course of a season. Yeah, genuinely.
I think he's about on par with Tsimikas personally.
But again, I think Tsimikas has hit a ceiling.
I don't know. 100% agree with that.
I don't know if Tierney has hit that ceiling or Arteta. And again, maybe obviously he goes on a free. There's ways that you work at it. Just obviously it's a low risk solution, but I don't see a world where you think, all right, in 2 years...
Getting on the this, it's going to be a corner. Oh, no, not quite a corner. Doesn't quite... Spins back into play, if anything, actually, yeah. Declan Rice picks up the loose ball and wins a throw-in for Arsenal. They're also desperate to win it. Anything could happen here, by the way. Last few minutes. Ball is in the box. Dean Henderson comes and claims.
Get up, lad. Get up. Quick. We want to win.
He's taking his time.
Ooh.
They might have settled for the point here, Palace.
But yeah, someone says there, Robbie O'Mahony says he's made the glass. That is the only
I was just checking, because I wasn't sure if I was dreaming it. His injury record.
It's hideous.
I thought it was horrendous.
It's not that bad.
Okay, let me check. You've really caught me off guard.
Proper left field like that, isn't it?
Proper left field shout that like. I'd love to see my face back when you asked that. Do you know a while ago when he told me he'd been to the aquarium out of nowhere? I reckon that was on par. That was out of.
Hey, has anybody seen other places I've been lately? Has anybody seen Sinners? Yo, Sinners movie goes in.
Mate, his injury record is an eyesore.
Is it that bad?
Oh my Christ. Look at it. Oh my God. Oh my shitting Christ. Sorry, I was too busy looking at how broke Kieran Tierney was. Crystal Palace nearly scored. That was nearly it. I only got a little
8 minutes, you the dog. We're going to win the league.
8 minutes left.
We're going to win the league.
It's that man again.
It's Mateta.
He's causing fucking... Oh, the chance was right though from Gabriel. Was it Martinelli?
Yeah. Awful.
Terrible shot into the side.
Shanked it differently.
Yeah, there's 8 minutes added on though, so fucking hold your horses. Start the car. Just
what are they doing? He's fucking got all of this. He's terrible. He didn't lift his head up once.
He could have cut back inside. Saka's begging for it on the opposite. Look. Oh, it's a terrible shot as well. Deary me.
Yeah, Dickie read it's better than looks good, mate. It is good. Go watch it. Go watch it in the cinema as well.
How close was that, by the way? I know how close was that.
Really. Oh, Saliba.
He just hits him. Just hits Saliba. Right place in the right time.
So go on, and who's your answer as a forward then, if you're not getting drawn into...
As a forward?
Yeah.
Oh, hello. Let's just deal with this situation first. He's causing fucking murder again. Oh, my Christ.
Liverpool are this close.
I can't tell you, what's going on in this building right now. I can hear Joe every single time Palace enter the final third. Oh, yeah, full disclosure. If this does happen, it changes everything for us. You might imagine. Post this, into the night tomorrow as well. So it's a big fucking deal. Full stop. Yeah. But it's a big deal.
6 minutes.
6 minutes left. Striker. I do like Hugo Ekitike. I like the look at him. I don't.
Is he like Gakpo though? A lot of people compare him towards.
Similar, yeah. I don't think he's quite the finished article. What you're getting with Isak is the finished article. Proven Premier League, obviously. I think you'd have to work on a lot of the others. But I think Ekitike is probably a shout. You know what I do? I do someone like an Ekitike, and I do Jonathan David for a free from Lille. I would absolutely, because I think we might lose 2.
Yeah, I think we're going to lose 2 at least.
I think we're going to lose. I think Jota and Nunes might be on the way out.
Do you like the sound of the
music? I've never seen.
No, I know you do. Yo, go watch Sinners. I promise you'll enjoy it. He doesn't like movies, this guy. Go and watch Sinners. You will enjoy it. It's great. Okay. It's going to be one of them movies that you have to watch.
How long is it?
Less than 2 hours. It's not super long. It's not like the Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter's or nothing like that. It's a good movie. Have you seen how the Italian League might finish this season?
No, but I did see the National League South, which is very different to what you've just said. On the final day of the season, there's go and check this out, by the way, there's 7 sides all on the same fucking points from top to 7th. Honestly, it's any team from there to there can win the league. The goal difference is wait for Finn between them as well. It's mad. Oh my Gideon with a super chat. Thanks. We are entering the final moments of this game. Palace have a throw in the dangerous area. I imagine they will go long. Chris Warner says the Italian league might end on pens.
So
go on. I did my National League South.
Inter and Napoli on the same points, but both of their games against each other so far this season.
Throwing into the box, gonna get cleared. Let's go man for a goal kick. Yeah, goal kick to Arsenal. Go on.
Has been 1-1. So if they finish mathematically on the same points, the team with the highest away goals would play at home, and they would play a one-off game against each other for the title. and if it was 0-0 or a draw after 90 minutes, then it would go to pens.
Straight to pens.
Straight to pens.
Straight
How
to pens.
gangster would that be, you know?
Straight to pens for a league, I can get on board.
Yeah, like 100%.
Not Arlie, I'd fucking hate
Hate
that.
it.
Oh my
Imagine
God.
that last day you're going to go to the Etihad.
I'm not great with pens. I was at the PSG game in Anfield a few weeks ago. I'm not great with pens, full stop, when it involves Liverpool. Don't give a shit with anybody else, obviously. But for the league, no thanks. Oh, Mega Diane's back. Yeah.
Oh, no, well, I appreciate the super chat, man.
Yeah, appreciate it, full stop.
Sinners is wicked. It's a wicked film.
Yeah.
But yeah, can you imagine the drama?
Imagine missing the pen.
That's
The costume
a league title. Oh.
I mean, there's been obviously like World Cup missing pens down here,
Yeah.
which is pretty shit, obviously. But a league title, 38 or whatever games worth of work.
It all comes down to one penalty kick.
No thanks. Arse on the attack. Now Martinelli back post towards Saka. It's going to go out into the... Oh,
You just let it go.
we let it go. Offside. Offside's gone up anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, not for me.
That would be
Not for me.
absolute scenes.
No. Yeah, no.
Could you imagine the scenes?
Again, as a neutral, in a different league. Oh, yeah. Where do I watch?
Yeah.
But for us, no.
No, none of that.
No, especially in this scenario.
I know.
Yeah, you're all right.
Could you imagine?
Would you take Wharton to compete with Graham? I really like Adam Wharton. But to come back to a point you made earlier on, we've made like 5 positions we could have gone on that we need to deal with. It's going to cost us
He's not a
£250 million.
Yeah.
And that is not my money. I don't give a shit. I'd rather Liverpool spent £400 million if it meant we were boss. But yeah, I don't know if Adam Wharton... And Adam Wharton's injury problems early on in the season went against him a little bit as well.
Yeah.
But he's really good. He was one of the main reasons I was looking forward to tonight, to watch him play. Yeah, I love him. Really good. Really good player. And I actually think, on this point, Stefan Bachettis can do right back, which might help. Might alleviate that a touch.
Yeah.
Maybe.
As an option, but I wouldn't want that to be like, we're not going to get a sign of right back, and we're going to run Bradley into the ground, and then Stefan steps in. No.
Yeah. Maybe changes our thoughts with
do we play
Joe Gomez? Yeah, earlier on, I seen this comment. It's a few times they put it in. I thought it was random as fuck, to be honest, so I ignored it. But now it's back. I feel like I probably should address it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We both play footy semi-regularly together. I play cricket to
runs
a decent standard.
Very good standard.
We do
runs.
Yeah. We play sports.
Paddles.
Paddle. Yeah, true. Actually, yeah. Paddle.
Gym.
Boss, by the way. Yeah.
Like
I keep myself busy.
This guy keeps himself busy. Me, not so much. I'm really struggling with sports at the minute. I got a love-hate relationship with sports at this moment in time. I suffer from the case of the Daniel Sturridges, so
can't stop dancing.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are now in the closing stages here. There's a ball into the box. Oh, Dean Henderson.
And now he can sit on it. Sit on it.
I think they're going to go long.
I think they're going to go
Mateta, maybe.
I think they're going to go for the draw. And that'll do.
Was that it? No.
Panic
then. When said that? Oh.
No, it is.
That is it.
That is
it. Game over. Full time.
Woo! We made it through.
Listen.
Liverpool haven't won the league. I am wounded. What is going to happen now?
No. Right. We got abuse early on from somebody. I didn't bring it up because it wasn't very nice. Somebody basically saying, like, if Palace did win, we'd all be fuming. That isn't true. But there is still the ideal scenario that exists. And it fucking exists now, ladies and gentlemen.
It's in our hands.
It fucking exists
in our hands. See you lot on Sunday, because I'll be here and we'll be winning the Premier fucking League. Let's have it.
On that note, Liverpool are now 1 point away from being crowned Premier League champions. Not one win. 1 point. Liverpool, the same Liverpool, play Tottenham Hotspur on Sunday at Anfield.
18 times.
Sounds good, doesn't it? Sounds good, that, doesn't it?
I'm gonna be dancing, I'm gonna be dancing, baby.
I said it a minute ago, Daniel Story. On a serious note, right? Let's talk about it. We won't stay long, Joe. Don't worry. I know we all want to go home. 2-2. There was a moment there. There was definitely a moment there where everything changed, but it's fine. 2-2, 1 point. Happy?
Very happy. It's exactly what we wanted when we set up for the stream tonight. We've just said, given how everything happened last time, to have it at Anfield in our hands with the opportunity, I think the lads will collectively, they'll have all been sat around tonight enjoying each other's company, but they'll have all looked at each other and went, that's exactly how we would have wanted things to pan out. And I just think, especially this squad deserves it. They deserve the opportunity to go out and win it in front of their fans. And
absolutely,
you can't necessarily pick how you win a Premier League. But as I said, there's a script there that the football gods have put out and laid out for us, and there's a massive opportunity that Liverpool can go and take with both hands come Sunday. And we'll see if they want to be champions. There's an opportunity to go and play like champions on Sunday, and I'm really looking forward to that energy and that intensity. I expect Anfield to be a sea of red. I expect it to be quite feral and quite celebratory. And I am just made up that we are on the cusp of absolute greatness, because as fans, we have been waiting for more of these moments. I think Arne Slot's been amazing this season. We spoke about that enough already. And I think Liverpool have been absolutely deserving champions of the Premier League this season. So come Sunday, come 6, 7 o'clock, the party can start for the summer. And I better believe it will continue on right throughout the course of the summer with some amazing stuff that you guys are all doing, and then a lot of other stuff that'll happen in and around the city. So it's there. Touching distance, ladies and gents, touching distance. And every single one of you that have been with us watching watch-alongs, any of the Redmen content throughout the course of the season, we love yous. It is amazing. 15 years, these lads have been absolutely in the building, laying the groundwork for football fan content creators all up and down the country to even have a voice. And now, the cream of the crop. The cream of the crop, baby. Chee!
There we are. Couldn't have said it better myself. Not even going to fucking try and say it better than myself. Just quickly, player ratings, they're all shite. All right? They're all shite. Every one of them.
You're all your messing. Apart from Mateta. Mateta was boss. And Eze was boss.
Yeah. Aside from that, they're all fucking crap. Right? They're all miles worse than Liverpool players. Don't worry a fucking jot about it. But on a serious note, we will be back on Sunday. When? I'm going to say it again. For those at the back that didn't quite hear it, Liverpool require 1 point to be crowned Premier League champions, English First Division top flight champions for the 20th time. Pretty good, isn't it? Pretty good. Do come along for that ride on Sunday, where we will be back to cover it from start to finish, and then some, and then some, and then probably a little bit more, because it's going to go on. And on and on. It's going to go on for about fucking 6 weeks, to be honest with you. So strap yourselves in.
One kiss is all it takes, baby.
Not 19 forever. Pull yourself together. We will see you there. I just want to say, actually, thanks for joining us on this. A bit of a mad stream, obviously, because of the situation. We had to be prepared for it. Yeah, we had to do it. We were here. We had stuff ready on the side just in case. That will remain ready on the side until Sunday, because it needs to be at this point. And then the party will happen and commence thereafter. So, yeah, do join us again on Sunday, because we'll do this all again, but it'll be fucking so much sweeter. Thanks for indulging in our conversation. I've enjoyed it.
I've had the ball. Like, genuinely had the ball, though.
Wonderful. The football went our way. It was a little bit exciting at times, but we had a good chat, and you enjoyed it, hopefully,
Liverpool
as well.
So, on the brink!
Massively appreciate you joining us. Take care. Look after yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your night. Goodbye.